Hello. Hello. Thank you guys all for coming here today. We're going to give it just a second for people to come in. I have to do a couple things. I have had the worst morning this morning. Hey guys. I see my camera is shitty. God is dead. The worst has happened. This is going to be a fun day still. It's just it's really bummed me out for about 2 minutes here. Today's the worst. Okay. Hello. How are you guys all doing today? I'm looking at the wrong camera. So today I've had a lot of issues with my camera. I don't know what happened. I use this thing called Camlink 4K, and it makes my camera work as a webcam. Well, it just was outputting only red color today. So I think I could actually show you guys that. Let me switch to it. Yeah, this is welcome to the Red Big Pay AMA. So now we have to use the old shitty classic. I'm really upset about it. I thought today was going to be a grand day, but it still is. Thank you guys all for coming today. So what today is I keep looking at the wrong camera. Today is a Cardano 360 watch party. We have been doing these for almost a year now. We started doing these back in July for the Shelly Summit, and this was a big one. 90 days is kind of the release horizon for Alonzo, for Goguen, for the last step of Goguen that adds smart contracts. So what we do during these is we answer questions in chat. We do an AMA at the beginning, we do an AMA at the end, and if there's like a little middle, layover time, we do an AMA during that. But yeah, we just try to answer questions in chat. I'm really excited for today. I look forward to these every single month. But let me go ahead and say hi to everybody today. It really threw me off. It really did. What's up, Carlos? What's up, Anthony, Kevin, True to Me, Slushy, Dus, another Slushy, Luke, J. Dow. You guys were chatting way before I got here today. Sorry for being late. I've had a lot of camera troubles this morning. I was supposed to meet with Kaizen too. I missed that. Big Pay. What's up, Matthew, Alex, Cardacity? What's up, Kaizen, Augusto Espinosa? I appreciate you guys all coming by today. What are you most excited for in this? I'm hoping we get some more demos of real smart contracts. I'm hoping we hear some big projects that are on Ethereum right now that have seen, the light of Cardano, seen the ability to have, lower fees, it being a formally verified language when you write with Plutus. I'm hoping that we're going to get like a big announcement of, a big, NFT marketplace, or a big announcement of, a big, like what if it was like OpenSea or Rarible or a big DeFi protocol saying they're going to migrate some of their services over here. That's what I'm hoping for most today. But they always surprise us with a lot of good stuff, so I'm really looking forward to it. I also always look forward to, the Singularity Net hype. Singularity Net's always the best. So I'm hoping we get some more robot speak this time. But I did have some announcements for you guys today. There is some news. Sorry for my shitty camera. I know I'm not as pretty as I normally am. It's very unfortunate. But so first, there was a new Yoroi update for Yoroi Mobile. This happened this morning. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy to me. So Yoroi Mobile 4.1.1. Oh, not the red one. Not the red camera today. All right, so Yoroi Mobile 4.1.1 supports Catalyst Fund 4. So once voting registration is open, our mobile users will be able to vote for Catalyst proposals. That's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. That's crazy. You can now finally use your mobile phone to vote for Catalyst. That's pretty awesome. I've got some more information that you guys may have missed. It's from Input Output. We got a couple things to look at. The first one, they announced this, so I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about it very shortly. We are pleased to announce a new series of webinars we'll be hosting throughout the summer. Welcome to our Marlowe webinar series. Explore the future of open finance. Want to learn more about smart contracts and DeFi landscape? Keep reading. Starting June 3rd, our webinar series will offer insights from industry leaders and academics on the future of open finance, the importance of security in DeFi products, ensuring interoperability with legacy financial systems and global standards. Join Thompson and Shruti and guest speaker Dr. Willie Brammertz and leave the sessions armed with a better understanding of the DeFi and open finance market. Let me go ahead and switch this red one real quick. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Some more content, coming out specifically from IOG. They love the content, and I feel like, Charles's YouTube content, IOG's YouTube content, and, every YouTuber, I'm not saying me, but, YouTube in general, I feel like has really helped, the Cardano and helped the community building. And I'm happy to see them put out more content because, they're kind of the best at it. Some YouTubers will do a couple things better than them, but they're damn good. So I'm excited to see more content coming from them. The other thing I wanted to show you was some Project Catalyst updates that I was excited about. Let me scroll down to it. We're also going to be doing a giveaway today. We're going to be doing a giveaway. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that giveaway today. It's going to be a good one. So we're going to be going over that right before the actual watch party event starts. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so the town hall recap. You guys can't miss the town halls. If you do, I know they're long, sometimes a little boring, so I always try to give you guys these recaps. So Yoroi mobile wallet support, which was huge. CLI pledge hardware wallet support. Excited for that. So this was interesting. Veteran community advisors now completed their work. Next, what's next? 168 eligible Cardano advisors were invited. Following days, all the results are compiled and aggregated. Substandard reviews removed all proposals and get revised final ranking. 5/N. So that was really the two big updates from that. But I thought it was interesting that there were community advisors that were being brought in. They're the veteran community advisors because Project Catalyst is still a pretty damn new thing, so it's cool to see the experts. Also, if you guys are enjoying this so far, I would really appreciate it if you click that like button. It helps me out in the algorithm. We're trying to get this watch party going today. If you guys have any questions, feel free. We're going to be doing the AMA in just a second, but I wanted to do something very unique and cool today. I wanted to look back at what we were doing a year ago today. I'm starting to get, it's almost a year since Bloom started. Bloom started in July and August, and I'm starting to get a little like, a little goosebumps. It's about time to engage with Bloom, to get engaged with Bloom. And I wanted to look at the videos that we were creating a year ago, right? Today it's 5/27. So what did I upload on 5/27 of last year? And I just wanted to take a look at it with you guys and, see what was going on in the Cardano community and really look at how far we've came. Next week, I'm really excited. I'm finally going to get to meet a lot of you if you do come to the Bitcoin Summit. All of the people that I've grown quite close to over the internet in the last year, I'm finally going to get to meet. I've never been able to actually afford to go to one of the summits before. So this is my first ever summit I'm really excited to go to. I've never been to a cryptocurrency summit, and there's going to be a little Cardano meetup before that I'm excited to go to and, meet with Charles and meet some of you guys if you're going to be attending there in Miami. Also the Bitcoin conference. So, okay. A year ago, and the time is lining up just perfect because this is really where I got the start of everything. This is where a lot of people found my channel that really pushed me up in the rankings, to put me where I am today. So let's look. Today's the 27th. Well, look, this was right after I was invited to the Friends and Family Testnet. And the Friends and Family Testnet, if you don't know, it was a group of 21 people that were invited specifically by IOG to this private Friends and Family Testnet, and they got to test out the code the same way the Plutus pioneers are right now. They're using the same method they used to launch Shelly to now launch Goguen, with the Alonzo hard fork. They're taking a group of very specialized Plutus pioneers into a small group to test and break things. And that's exactly what we were doing a year ago today. And guess when Shelly launched? Shelly launched in August, right when they said it would. And that doesn't mean Alonzo's going to. It can be delayed a month, and that's still going to be okay. But, I'm starting to get a little sentimental. It's crazy to think that the Friends and Family Testnet that I was invited to, with 20 other people was a year ago. So I started making videos about that, Friends and Family Week 2, because I wanted to make videos for everyone that wasn't invited. I wanted to make sure everyone was included so everyone could kind of be along this learning journey with me. And that's exactly what happened. So, we move up a little bit now on to June 11th. This was really the big video that I created. It was how to create a Cardano Stakepool, Haskell testnet episode 1. And that's right when, the friends and family testnet started to branch out a little bit. What it did is it allowed other people that didn't have really the node documentation to get their first Stakepool up and running, to get their first node up and running. And that's kind of what led into everything else, so following, June, it's a lot of Stakepool videos. And then I realized, everything's going to be switching. We have to start making videos, not just for Stakepool operators, delegates, and, the rest is history. Welcome to Bloom, how to choose your Stakepool, how to stake for the first time, how to, it's just, I'm in a good mood. It's a year ago today. It's going to be a fun one, but we can start the AMAs. That's all the content I had for you guys today. We got about 15 minutes before the true AMA starts. So Pay is reminiscent. But what's up, Farah? What's up, Darko? Braveheart Stakepool. Guillaume? Big Pay throwback. Hell yeah. Orion, good day, Big Pay. What is up? I started staking with Bloom since mid-August as well. Thanks, Big Pay, for all of the 80 staking rewards I got from Bloom 3. No problem, man. I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much for staking with Bloom. But we're going to be doing a giveaway. It's going to be a cool one, and we'll do a little bit of an opening here, too. So my business partner, Anthony, you guys know him, my partner in Bloom. Where is it, damn it? He makes these little devices called Crypt Keepers, and they're a good way to store your funds. A lot of people now have a lot more money in crypto than what they started with. We were sending $100 here and there. Well, that $100 can be worth, $500 or $1,500. You never know. And, our wallets have increased if you've been here long enough. And you have to protect your funds. You can't just leave them in a Yoroi wallet anymore. You can't just leave them in a Daedalus wallet anymore. So his birthday's coming up soon, and the watch parties get pretty big, so I wanted to kind of do a little ad for him here. So happy birthday, Anthony. But let me get this Crypt Keeper for you guys. But what it does, it's a metal piece. It's a metal device, a metal plate that he actually made here in Melbourne, Florida, the Space Coast. He made those, and you can actually store your cryptocurrency funds, your recovery phrase on there. And he has a bunch of different ones. He's got Daedalus, Yoroi, Trezor. There's a bunch of different devices that you can actually use to store your funds on this little device. And I think it's pretty awesome. I use them for all of mine. I have one laying around here somewhere. But the link for these are down below. And then if you guys want to actually enter the giveaway, it's very simple. Let me show them on screen so I can get you guys excited for them because they're damn cool. Let me pull this link up real quick. Don't have one in this room. So this is Crypt Keeper right here. It's a device for you to actually store your funds, and you can back up both cold and hot wallets. And what he means by that is, wallets that are on the computer and also wallets that are on a Trezor, And yet, look, you can see the two metal plates right there. And you guys can come to this website, use coupon code BIGPAY to get a discount. And the link for this is down below. But we're also giving away. I didn't ask him first. I wanted to surprise him. So I said 5. He's been asking me to give these away forever, so I hope 5's okay. But if you guys join the Discord link down below, it's also above in the chat. If you guys click that link there, we will be giving away 5 of these plates. So that's 5 more people that we have saved from ever losing their cryptocurrency funds that are so precious to them. So make sure you guys click that link down below and check that out. Also join the Discord server down below to enter the giveaway. We'll be giving away 5 of them. So. The link down below. So if you guys are asking where can we buy it, I think it's like the 7th or 8th link down below. It says it's cryptkeeper.io. They are beautiful. They are beautiful. I'll show them during the next AMA. I normally have like 2 or 3 of them lying around, but I think I just cleaned in here, so I lost them. Make sure you guys have your snacks ready for today. I got some oats. Got some oats ready, some Kind bars. It's going to be a long one. These things are like 3 or 4 hours long, and I'm going to be here when it's over. So make sure you guys stay till the end. I would really appreciate it if you are enjoying it so far. Make sure you guys click that like button. We have 186 people here, 94 likes. What are you guys most excited for today? I kind of told you guys what I'm excited for. But Big Pay the Minimalist. Yeah, I want to get like a nice little neon bloom light behind me or something. Add a nice aura to the room. But let's get some questions coming in. We got about 12 more minutes before the actual watch party starts, the Cardano360 watch party. So let's get some questions coming in before we get going. Make sure you guys are staying hydrated. Got some snacks, some oats. Make us jealous with the food. Man, you guys can order in. We got hours. We got hours in. You can take some time. Go get some food. We got 12 minutes. We got 12 minutes. Any Cardano questions today? Any other questions before we start this? And if you guys are just tuning in, what we are actually doing is a Cardano watch party. What we do in the watch parties is I come in with an AMA at first. We talk about what we're excited about. We get a little bit of a hype session going. And then we watch the watch party. What I do is I actually full screen it. And once I full screen it, I just hide. I talk in chat. I answer you guys' questions. You know, we kind of have a little get together because they actually turn off the chats for the other ones. So I like these because we get a chat going as long as it doesn't get too crazy. Hopefully we stay kind of in the 500 to 1,000 range so the chat's not ridiculous. And then I come back at the end for another AMA. World Mobile Token, you buying? I got to look into it more. Big Pay, if someone has 0.5 million ADA, what would you advise? Learn how to create a stake pool or just delegate? Devontas, that's a great question. So right now, first off, I can't actually ask you or offer you financial advice, and that is a lot of money now. I mean, what is that, like $800,000? So be very, very careful with what you do. Make sure you're using a Crypt Keeper or a hardware wallet of sort to store those funds. But, you know, it depends on what you want to do, what your intentions are, right? If you want to, you know, mint blocks and, you know, be a part of the Cardano blockchain, then I would say go for it. But there's a lot that you have to learn. You know, you have to learn marketing. You have to learn the Linux backend. You have to learn some networking. So you have to learn. I mean, it takes, I would say, probably 6 months to a year to at least be proficient, like working often on this stuff to do that. And whereas delegating, it's very simple. You know, you click a few buttons, you're getting paid epoch by epoch. But right now, Pledge doesn't have the greatest of impact on rewards. So just because you have a lot of ADA doesn't mean that your pool is going to look different, you know, to another pool, because the A0 parameter that's supposed to incentivize Pledge does not incentivize as much as we would like it to. So it doesn't really matter how much ADA you have. It really matters, you know, what are your intentions? You know, what do you want to accomplish? Do you have some drive? Are you willing to stick with it for a while? Because a year from now, people are going to be saying the same thing that you are, and you're going to have a year ahead of them, whereas right now I have a year ahead of you, you know. So thank you so much for the super chat, John Hamilton. You're the man. I appreciate it, brother. Revo said, I saw you recommending the sauna. What's so good about it? It just gives me a very clear head. You know, it makes my skin feel better. It reduces inflammation. So I read this paper from Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she did a study on cardiovascular outcomes. And she also figured out, like, essentially that it just reduces inflammation. You know, if you sit in a sauna at 175, over 175 for 20 minutes, your body releases this heat shock protein, and it reduces the zonulin in your blood. And the zonulin in your blood essentially just, I'm not a doctor, but it just causes inflammation all over your body. So the heat shock protein that reduces the zonulin, you know, saves you with brain inflammation. You know, it saves you with, let's say you have arthritis or other inflammations in your body, it helps all around, you know. And I have a lot of autoimmune issues, so that causes inflammation in my brain that helps me not think as well. So by using the sauna, you know, I just get a great sense of clarity. It stretches out my muscles. Just across the board, it is the best thing that you can do for 20 minutes, and it's not that damn hard. You just sit there, you know. It's hard, but it's better than running, that's for sure. The Rewired Soul said, let's get 5,000 in here. Oh, yeah. I want 500 to 1,000. No more than that because the chat gets a little too crazy. But if we wanted to get up to that, make sure you guys like this video. Sorry, man, I got to shoot off. We'll catch up later. No problem, Marco Darko. I hope you have a good rest of your day, man. Big hug from Portugal. Big hug from Florida. I'm not in Ohio anymore. I saw that, Trevor. I moved, man. I'm sorry. Anthony Jones says, hopefully ADA gets some momentum if Bitcoin drops. Doesn't matter. I think we're doing good, man. We're at like $1.70 last time I checked. Gay Swap listed this morning. I saw that. Be careful with that. A lot of sketch signs about them. They won't go on any podcasts. That doesn't mean they're a sketch podcast, or not a sketch podcast, but a sketch project, of course. But it's just some reputable people in the community are kind of raising some red flags about them. So never invest more than you're willing to lose with any of these projects. Giuseppe said, do you think that governance on Cardano means that we will be able to revert transactions? No, I don't think so at all. We would all have to agree and do a hard fork that would allow us to actually reverse transactions, because right now there is no way for people to be able to vote to reverse a transaction. Because you have to think about Cardano as a protocol. All a protocol is a set of rules, right, for the network to connect to the network. Well, in those set of rules, there is no rule that states the participants in the protocol can reverse transactions. So what we would have to do for that is all vote on a proposal to improve the protocol to allow us to actually reverse transactions. And I'm not voting yes on that, and I don't think you should either. I've heard of Wim Hof's breathing method. I also want to do the cold stuff. I love the sauna so much that there's definitely something to, exposing ourselves to, high temperatures or low temperatures. Would you like to do decentralized social media platforms? I would, but that's complex, man. I could not imagine, that how well that would work. There have been studies with athletes where 1 hour a day sauna 4 days a week increases levels of neuroepinephrine or neoepinephrine. Neuroepinephrine, I think it's neoepinephrine, in about 2,000%. That's nuts, man. It just does something. It's magic, man. It's magic. The sauna really is. I got a bounce pay. Love you. Love you too, man. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining Bloom, John Hamilton. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. When you join Bloom, you get some emojis, which I'm going to be adding some more soon. Bloomies in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Which Cardano DEX looks the most promising to you? The one Ben Gortzel's working on. I trust Ben Gortzel, man. That to me, that's the best one. Jade said, I sold my bra to buy more ADA. I think that's a good choice. No financial advice. Anything planned for the moment Cardano flips Ethereum? We streaming. Maybe we'll have a party. We'll all be living good. We can meet somewhere. Enthusiastic. I've never heard of that word. Enthusiastic. How do you recommend businesses to adopt Cardano? Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that, Joseph? Norepinephrine. Oh. Nice. Big Pay, you know anything about Akash, decentralized cloud computing? I do not. I know about dCloud. I had them on the podcast a while. Mark Stopka. When is Cardano360? It's in 4 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. The Cardano360. I think we're going to get a lot of Goguen details, a lot of Goguen demos today. That's going to actually be starting in 3 minutes. I'm really excited. Remember, we're giving away Crypt Keepers in the description down below. 5 Crypt Keepers, a better way to store your funds. It's in the Discord server. All you have to do is just react to the post on Discord with the confetti symbol after you fill out the CAPTCHA. It's very simple. Under what circumstances would someone want to reverse a transaction? There are a lot of reasons someone would want to do that, let's say for fraud or other reasons, but I tend to, with more liberty comes more responsibility. So if you get your money stolen, you're screwed. Welcome to cryptocurrency. 72% staked. What is the significance of that? Staking is actually what decentralizes the Cardano network, right? So to give you guys a simple way of looking at this, how this actually works is, let's say I own 1% of the tokens in Cardano, so 1% of the total ADA, and I delegate to a pool and 100% of the total ADA is staked, and I delegate to a pool my 1% of the ADA in the network. Well, that means that pool now processes 1% of the transactions in the network. So by more ADA delegated, it's a more decentralized network because you have different nodes processing different transactions because there's a limit on the amount of ADA that can be in one pool at 64 million. So the more ADA staked, the more nodes, across the world that are doing that. And also, if you look at it from a price perspective, people that have their ADA staked, they're not necessarily selling. You're earning 5% a year. You don't want to get rid of that ADA. And with the price fluctuating as much as it is and the volatility, I think that really shows how strong ADA is because 72% are willing to actually, stake it. But we have to, we've got to pull up the watch party. It's getting started in 1 minute. 1 minute. I just saw Vitalik Buterin's going on the Lex Friedman podcast in a couple days. It's going to be interesting. And then Charles is coming on right after that. Oh, wow. They're just actually having it on YouTube this time. It's very interesting. Okay. I got it pulled up. Love Ben Gortzel. He's a visionary just like Charles. I agree, man. I love Ben Gortzel too. Ben Gortzel's awesome. Talking with him was just like, whoo. that man blew my mind. I like, Charles is smart, but Ben Gortzel, I feel like Ben Gortzel is just smarter in a different way than Charles. And it's like, it blows my mind. He's so good at illustrating things. So is Charles, but Ben Gortzel is just such a genius. Like Charles is like a genius in I feel like a business in like cryptocurrency way, whereas like I feel like Ben is more of a genius, like specifically on illustrating technical topics. I guess Charles is good at it too, but there's something about Ben, man. It's crazy. See if it started yet. Yep, we got 2 minutes until it's starting. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Hell yeah. If you guys are enjoying the watch party so far, make sure you guys click that like button. I'll be in chat the whole time answering any of your guys' questions. We've been doing these for over a year now. That's why we had to reminisce a little bit earlier. I haven't looked at the Covalent project, Ralph. Send me a link on Discord. I'll take a look at it. Haskell seems harder to learn but easier to execute as an observer. I think so too. Charles talking with Grace tonight? I hope so. Ben has DeFi. Ben does have DeFi. Nilk says, bro, they're both woke as fuck. I guess that's what you call it, yeah. Yeah, they are both woke as fuck. Any thoughts on Harmony 1? I've been looking more into it. That's what I'll say about it. What's the name of Ben's DEX? Or it's Singularity DAO and Singularity DEX, I'm pretty sure. There's another BD in here. That's funny. How's it coming along? We got 35 seconds. 35 seconds until I go quiet, answer all of your guys' questions in chat. I'm hyped. We can probably get one more question out of the way before we start. And I like it because there's not too many people in here today. So it actually is going to be a nice chat. Can we acknowledge that Charles has a really, really sexy beard? You think so? I wasn't really too keen on it. Oh, shit.
Expanding Cardano universe. I'm Tim Harrison, and joining me, as ever, is Aparna Jew, Cardano product director. Aparna, what have we got coming up this month?
Well, for this month, we're focusing on 3 initiatives of the Cardano project. One, our main event, Alonzo, which is the hard fork combinator event that brings smart contract functionality onto Cardano. So we're going to talk about the delivery roadmap, we're going to talk to partners, and we're going to talk with pioneers on their experience and their progress. Two, we're going to dive into Marlowe. So we've had a few exciting announcements that we'd like to share with you guys. So we're going to have a quick chat. The gaps are and where we could improve. And so there's one big difference between typical software product development to what we're doing here, and that's the transparency of the whole project. So usually we're closed about this process, and we would do a lot of our testing internally by ourselves before we put out the main event. But with Alonzo, we're incredibly open. So the entire testing process will actually bring into the journey our pioneers, our partners, our SPOs, and eventually our community. And we've done this through multiple phases. So in this section, we're going to open up those phases and have the team really talk about what's in each of those phases, what functionality is available in each of those phases, who's going to be able to start to work with it, and what we are looking for as a team for a successful phase transition to go to the next phase. Now, this lasts over 3 phases. It's kind of a 90-day thing. So without further ado, let's get into it. And you know what? Tim was actually talking about this earlier with us today about building a barn or something like that. Tim, talk about that analogy because I thought that was really interesting.
That's right. The analogy we used was a barn raising, where effectively the community comes together and builds something collaboratively, starting with the foundations, building the floors, building the walls, starting to put the plumbing and the electrics in. And that's really what we're doing here with the testnet process. So we've divided everything into a series of testnets, different colors, color coded, really to help everybody navigate their way through this series of steps, adding functionality, adding capability, and bringing in new audiences. So starting with a relatively small cohort and building that out gradually as we head towards full public testnet and then obviously full mainnet capability. But I won't talk about it too much because, as you say, we've got Nigel, we've got Gerard, we've got Demetrius, and of course we've got Kevin to walk us through a few of those steps as we build the barn together. So maybe let's start with you, Kevin. Phase 1, that very early alpha testnet. We're calling it the blue testnet, aren't we? Perhaps you can just take us through a little bit about this first stage.
Yeah, so Alonzo Blue is laying the foundations, Tim. What we're going to be doing is to start from the very beginning. We're going to be starting from a very basic version of the node, and gradually we're going to work through a series of steps, adding in additional functionality, making sure that everything works with a very select group of people. Initially, we'll be working with a few of our SPO colleagues who we've worked with before on the other testnets and and on Telegram channels, etc. And then we'll be bringing in a few additional partners. We'll be bringing in a few of the Plutus pioneers who've been undergoing a course that Lars has been putting on, so an educational course teaching them all about how to use Plutus, how to interact with the smart contract capability that we're developing. And we'll be working up to a stage where we're able to submit some simple contracts onto the testnet, where the pioneers can check that they work. They can verify that all the basic functionality is there, it's working, and it's going to be then ready to open up to a broader group of individuals.
So we'll start there, Kevin, with, as I say, a subsection of SPOs, a subsection of the pioneers. We're also working with a number of professional development shops, aren't we, Jer, working to help kick the tires of the code and get things set up.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Tim. We've got 7 companies now working with us to try and build a typical use cases. And by doing that, we're learning a lot about the documentation, how Plutus is actually constructed, and various things that just go towards providing a better experience. So we have, as I say, 7 companies based in Europe, and we've got an 8th company from the United States that will be joining us soon. And each of them is going to do 1 or 2 different use cases, ranging from things including oracles. We're looking at dexes, lending and borrowing, crypto-backed stablecoins, NFTs, and DeFi tools. So what we're going to get out of this whole exercise is going to be code and documentation, and it'll be available to all of our community as a kind of a catalyst, so to speak, for them to be able to learn and evolve and build smart contracts of their own. I think the other cool thing about these Boost development partners is that they're putting in a lot of work and they're going to learn a lot. So they'll also be available for people who want to collaborate with them later on after the hard fork happens. The companies, as I say, we've got 7 of them. There's Alt Labs in Serbia, Alex in Ukraine, Node Factories in Croatia. We've got Metal Lamp in Russia, D Quadrant, who are based in the Netherlands, M Labs from the UK, Binary Apps from Poland, and Obsidian then from the United States. So it's a pretty active crew. A lot of work going on. There's a public repository as well, which we'll share with everybody in June, where they can see the work that's happening there, and we're very excited with what they're producing.
Okay, so Alonzo Blue, the first stage, the earliest testnet, the alpha, and this is, as you say, Kevin, where really it's about getting the Alonzo era nodes working together, talking to each other with a relatively small subsection of the community. We'll then move on to Alonzo White, where things start to open up in terms of capability and in terms of developer audiences. Perhaps you can just take us through a little bit of what Alonzo White will be.
Yeah, so Alonzo White is going to be opening up to a broader group of the community, as you're saying, Tim. We'll be opening up to the subset of the Plutus pioneers who will be able to submit Plutus transactions using the node CLI. They'll be able to do all the things that we've been doing by the end of Blue, but have been in a more stable, more open framework. And in addition, the partners that Jazz mentioned, they'll be running a number of demo DApps. People will be able to interact with those DApps. And in the background, what we're doing is to develop a number of core components that are necessary to create the ultimate Plutus experience that we're aiming at. So we'll be working on the wallet backend to support the Alonzo era. And very importantly, we'll be working on the Plutus application backend, which is going to link up with the Plutus front end to allow people to interact very easily and naturally with the testnets and with the mainnet in due course.
So, Nigel, obviously a lot of work has already gone on in terms of development of a lot of these components, but the Alonzo White stage, I guess, is really when things start coming together in terms of integrations and all the different developer teams starting to plug everything into each other. Perhaps you can just tell us a little bit more about the process that's going to happen there during this stage.
This is where all the integrations really start to kick into gear. We started off with the first very simple network, which we called Blue. And on the Blue network, we get our nodes set up, and we start to generate stability around our core infrastructure, which also includes the on-chain Plutus components. When we have got a more stable environment, we'll move into the White network and we'll spin up a clean network, which will enable us to basically start getting all the off-chain components integrated. This includes the Plutus application backend, and it also includes the wallet backend. This is the exciting stage because at this stage, all of our partners who have developed use cases locally are able to actually start testing out their scripts within a real live environment. And we'll start to see the benefits of some of this functionality. In addition to this will be the first time when we can start to get proper, real benchmarks and costs completed and reported against, as we're now live on a fully end-to-end network.
So thanks, Nigel. Going back to Kevin for a second, I want to talk about what are we successfully looking for from an acceptance criteria to move from one phase to the other, specifically blue to white, and then now white is when a lot of the magic starts to happen, white to the next phase. Can you give us an idea of what that is, Kevin?
Well, partly apart, it's about making sure we have the right functionality to support the large group. So we'll be putting in place additional tooling. We'll be setting up some scripts. We'll be setting up a proper faucet to make it easy for the pioneers to engage. But most importantly, what we'll have been doing is to test out the node, make sure that everything that we've implemented is working properly. We'll have tested out a set of exercises and tutorials that we've been developing to make the experience as good as we possibly can.
So, Dimitris, let's bring you in now. You're something of a veteran of our previous ITN and Shelley campaigns, helping deliver those over a period of stages very similar to here. Perhaps you can just give us a bit more of an indication around how the community is getting involved at these different stages and the sort of experience they have, and also the sort of value they can add to the process.
Indeed, Tim, and there have been several major network events during the last 18 months, from ITN and Shelley, Hartford to Allegra, and then more recently Mary. And we have devoted a lot of time and effort after each one of those to ensure that we learn and improve by utilizing the experience we now have under our belt. And the results seem to confirm that. So our coordination and release processes are now maturing, and the results are more and more smoother compared to the early ITN days, for example. As also noted from the SPOs, from the recent Mary Hartford, that was almost unnoticeable, which is actually a great success when it comes to the delivery part. So in order to achieve that and continue improving further, the focus is to ensure that all the key components are available as early as possible and tested thoroughly, which is also being done gradually with the contribution of some of our community members and partners. So in the early stages of the journey, not all the components and tools will be available. Thus, a certain level of technical expertise is initially required. Same as in the previous major events, Alonzo Hard Fork requires a series of components to be available and integrated, and it's quite a complex activity that needs to be coordinated with a high level of precision. What we're looking to accomplish for Alonzo in the following weeks and months is to iteratively roll out the components and features as they become available over different environments, which are also color-coded. So starting from an internal one and progressing by gradually adding more and more people based on the stability achieved. And when I say people, I mean the community, SPOs, partners, and all the different groups of people that are actively involved also on mainnet, and who will help us by providing their valuable early feedback that we can also consider as the journey between the different phases progresses. Our ultimate goal, of course, is to reach a level of stability and usability that will be adequate for performing another smooth and uneventful hard fork event on the Cardano mainnet. So, starting from our first environment, which is about to be available, we will involve some SPOs to help us run the first few relays and simulate the mainnet configuration and verify that they can upgrade their nodes to the Alonzo era. This is expected to be our first environment, so it will be volatile, almost certainly, and there are going to be some issues we will need to address, as well as quite a few resets that will need to take place quite often to start with, and then hopefully reduce the number of resets as we progress. And this is all part of the journey and the process. So we will then gradually look to bring in more SPOs, exchanges, partners, and pioneers to start experimenting with the Plutus application framework, integrate using the wallet backend APIs. And in the meantime, of course, the team will be working to produce and update the documentation so that when we reach a point that everything is working as expected, we will then be ready and stable enough to bring in more and more people in our test environments. It's all agile, and we will be providing more updates in the coming weeks as the journey continues.
And Kevin, we'll be keeping the community busy as ever. Are we going to be running more tutorials and scripts and these sort of things as you did with previous rollouts?
Yes, I've been busy beavering away in the background, Tim, writing a series of exercises for pioneers and others to use to test out the testnet capabilities. So I'm comfortable with what I've done so far. And what I'm looking forward to is writing all the exciting exercises for things we can do in Purple. Really complex transactions, really taking advantage of all the smart contract capabilities that we're building in. Minting tokens, native tokens, writing redeemer scripts, writing all kinds of validator scripts, and dealing with metadata and all kinds of other things that we will be able to do once we have full Plutus.
Right. So, Kevin, thank you for that, because it seems like Purple is where a lot of the action really comes in terms of real world use cases, lots and lots of users. All the pioneers are on board, and now we've got exchanges involved. So that's pretty much a real world test case, kind of like your mainnet candidate right before launch. So going to pivot back to Nigel on this from the delivery angle. So how do we get from Purple to the Hard Fork Combinator event? Take me through that, Nigel.
What we start off with, as we just mentioned in the Purple phase, this is a public network, and we've got all our pioneers, that's 1,500 pioneers, working away on that network, and our other partners maturing their applications. In that Purple phase, we'll have all our other components ready and Alonzo'd. So this means our wallets, Daedalus. This means the Rosetta API for the exchanges. This means Explorer. This means GraphQL. This means hardware wallets and all the other components that make up our Cardano architecture. Once we've got that into a reasonable state, we'll then move it to our red-white era, and this will be a new network where we can test the full scalability and the stability of our systems. And once we're satisfied in that area, we can then move it to our black network, which will be our final public network, where we can actually benchmark everything and make sure that we've got our mainnet candidate releases ready, and then we can launch it onto the mainnet.
So, Jer, Charles has framed this activity in terms of a kind of a 90-day period. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed when you're rolling out complex software like this. But I think our level of predictability of the software rollout has improved. However, what are maybe some of the challenges and issues you can foresee slowing us down over the next 90 days?
So we learned a lot from Shelley. We went through the Pioneer program. We went through a lot of community engagement, and we learned a lot about how to introduce big, huge pieces of software, big, huge changes to the market. We've taken a lot of those learnings, and we're applying them again in a more refined way now. We have better feedback loops. We have dedicated teams now that look at bugs and features, so those things are able to move much faster. So I think we have a better infrastructure overall at this point compared to last year. I think this year as well, if we look back to what we discussed earlier on, we've also got, commercial partners now who we're engaging to write actual real life use cases. And that's providing a lot of insights that the community are going to benefit in the weeks and months ahead. So I think all of those things, aside, there are things which could slow us down. There will be typical functional bugs like we had last year, but we got through them. Despite the fact we've done, huge amounts of testing, and I know, Tim, we've spoken about this in the past, all the testing that's been done there. You don't know for sure until you actually put out a real network. So that's one thing that we're kind of excited to see and to understand. And we have techniques and we have ideas about how we can improve it then as well. Plutus is built on kind of the precepts of Haskell, so it's a different way of programming things. So I think that there will be some early friction points that people need to learn, but once they get used to it, it'll be okay. We're very committed to making sure that there's a very large cohort of people who are familiar with Plutus by the time we launch, because we want it to be very successful. So those are the kind of challenges I think we're going to face. But cautiously optimistic is what I would say I am right now.
So thanks, Jer. Cautiously optimistic and a very busy 90 days ahead of us. Kevin, any last thoughts?
Well, it's going to be a challenging time for us, Tim, but a very exciting 90 days, because we'll finally get to deliver the Plutus interpreter, all the hard work that people have been putting into over what is now a very extended period of time, finally going to come to fruition. We'll have real users building on Plutus, developing their own DApps. So for everyone in the tech team, this is going to be a really, really exciting period.
And for everyone in the community too. Gentlemen, thank you very much. So, Aparna, a lot to take in there. Perhaps we just summarize a little bit for people.
Sure. I mean, the team did a great job of like kind of diving into each of these stages or colors with the rollout plan or the delivery plan, as you may hear it being called. But at the end of the day, guys, it's a 30, 60, 90-day plan, right? And what this actually means is you start off with blue. It's a little smaller, more tight knit. We start off with the basic functionality, bring a few pioneers, few SPOs on, and we start rolling there. And then we move on to white, where we now cast a little bit wider net and we bring in more partners. And now you start running more performance benchmarks and things of that nature. Then white rolls into purple, which is now fully public. We're talking about every pioneer. We're talking about most SPOs, if not all SPOs. We're talking about exchanges. And at this stage, we're really ready to go. And I know Nigel and the delivery team have spoken about the kind of the red stage and then the black stage, but those are really tiny stages. So it's really all about the purple. Once you get to the purple stage, we are pretty much close to the hard fork combinator event within that 30, 60, 90-day window, from start to blue, ending with purple. So there you have it.
And of course, Aparna, the community, as ever, at the center really of our testing and rollout process, just as it was with the ITN and with the Shelley rollout as well. So we thought we'd go and meet a few of those partners. First of all, we'll start with the Plutus partners. These are the professional software development shops that are helping us with some initial use cases and testing. We'll also talk to Lars, who's been leading the Pioneer program, and we'll meet a couple of the pioneers themselves. So let's go to that now.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cardano360. My name is Eric Zuleger. I am the Senior Content Editor at IOHK. Today on 360, we are thrilled to be joined by representatives from our Plutus Partner Program. So the Plutus Partner Program was established to work closely with professional development houses, and they were tasked to build early-stage Plutus code. Each company is building out initial use cases for wider testing, which will make Plutus a best-in-class experience for absolutely everyone. Let's take a look at some of my discussions with representatives from MetaLamp, Alt Labs, and Alex.
Hey guys, my name is Daria. I am a project manager in MetaLamp.
Hi, my name is Stanislav. I'm a Haskell developer at MetaLamp.
That's great. Thank you, guys. So to start out with, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about MetaLamp? Can you give us a short description of your company and what kind of projects you love to work on?
Yeah, in terms of projects, we work with a variety of subject areas. In terms of backend, it is primarily fintech projects. So if we talk about the overall scale, it varies from different web services, like small web services, up to major, huge fintech projects on Haskell.
So, Stanislav, moving forward, how will your company benefit from a greater familiarity with programming in Plutus?
Moving forward, MetaLamp will benefit with greater familiarity with Plutus. First of all, the most obvious benefit is to get offers from other companies which develop applications on the platform and which want to develop smart contracts application. And we are very excited to be part of this community and part of this fast developing world of smart contracts applications. Somewhat non-obvious benefit for us is being part of technological progress which has ability to change the world. And it's very inspiring to be close to the edge of innovations. I'm very excited to be able to participate in improving the financial and governance system.
Daria, you're moving forward with the Plutus Partner Program. Do you have any final thoughts for the audience at Cardano360?
Our hallmark, our corporate culture is that we are obsessed with continuous learning, with challenges, and that's the reason why we are so incredibly excited to work with you. And when we got the message from Andrea, like, welcome to the Plutus Partners Program, we were so happy when we got that. And to be honest, I can say that we're, like, in positive sense, we are kind of nerds, and we love to work with very narrow specializations. And Plutus Partners Program is such an opportunity to work with that challenge. Also, it's an honor to work directly with the founders of Cardano, with Cardano blockchain. And so the guys who paved the way for this entire huge ecosystem. And I think it's an amazing chance for us to adopt this firsthand experience. And as Stanislav said, to implement this in our future projects. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity for us. And thank you very much, guys, for that.
I'm joined by a representative of one of our Plutus partners, Klaus Sonnenleiter, the CTO of Alex. So Alex is one of our partner companies who is helping us make sure that Plutus is a best-in-class experience for everybody who is working with our programming language. Klaus, welcome to Cardano360.
Pleasure to be here.
So you have been a part of the Plutus Partner Program for a little bit now, and we would love to hear a brief description of your company and a couple of the examples of projects that you've worked on before.
Certainly. Alex is, as Eastern European companies go, actually as old as it gets. It was founded a few weeks after the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991 and has started its life cycle back then as a company that was working on a orchestration and automation system for the Ukrainian national electrical grid, which is a piece of software that is still in use today and it's still maintained by Alex. That's actually the reason for the name of the company, Alex. And Alex has since been transformed into a very different company. Our main business today is as a technology services company for mostly American and Western European customers. We've been fairly early in looking at blockchain in general as a field that we thought was interesting for a subset of our customers who are worried about keeping their records tamper-proof, making sure that nothing in those records can be changed without being noticed, and to some extent also automating financial transactions through that system, which is also why we were very interested in Plutus and in Cardano. And some of the work we've done in that field in the past includes actually some very high-profile projects, which I cannot describe in detail, but I can give some hints. We've done one project that is all about tamper-proofing a document store, where the documents are of very high financial sensitivity, so I can't name the name of the company. I can't name any more of the details, but it was one of the probably most challenging projects in the blockchain field, done with Hyperledger. We originally started with some Ethereum work, seeing if that could fit, turned to Hyperledger instead, and built that whole file system up with the help of that.
Can you tell us from your end what the experience has been like with working with Plutus Code?
The experience when we were working with Plutus was actually quite interesting. We of course expected quite a steep learning curve and having to get used to an entirely new environment. And that is certainly true and turned out exactly that way. But what we found was that when we were going through the video lessons and attending the live sessions, the Q&A sessions, and then also utilizing the resources we found in the self-help forums and the channels. All of that really helped us with that learning curve and got us to where we needed to be very quickly. That was very impressive.
So moving forward, how will LX benefit from greater familiarity with Plutus?
It's an interesting question. When we were looking at how LX would utilize all the things that we find in Plutus, the first thing that we paid attention to was we have a pretty good amount of customers in spaces that are benefiting from securing their records, from making them transaction safe, and from automating transactions with less and less manual input. And that is precisely where we see the role of Plutus for our customer base, where we think utilizing Plutus on a larger scale, once, of course, we get a little bit more familiar with it, we will be able to shorten the cycles for such products because a lot of the needed functionality is to some degree templated. We can build on a trusted environment rather than having to build it up from scratch every single time ourselves.
At Alt Labs, we're now a small group of individuals. Our main focus is to contribute and work with distributed systems, mainly with distributed ledgers and the blockchain. And we're strong believers in decentralization and distributed systems in general. So far, we had some experience with Ethereum, but I was mostly involved with the Filecoin, which is a distributed storage protocol. And that's the most recent project we've been working on, is managing an infrastructure that makes possible the distributed storage. Working with Plutus code was a quite satisfying experience, and the provided educational material in the form of videos was also very valuable asset, and the possibility to communicate directly with the other participants and IOHK members through channels such as Discord, email, and live Q&A sessions was most certainly of great value. And this helps us tremendously to get a deeper understanding of the Plutus smart contracts and how the UTXO works, so that we can benefit the future implementations of it. Alt Labs will greatly benefit from this training provided by the IOHK, and we want to get a more broader picture of the Plutus smart contracts and how native tokens are minted, and in general a deep understanding of the mechanics of distributed ledgers, and also the UTXO model, which we will most certainly use in the near future projects.
A big thank you to everybody from LX, from MetaLamp, and from Alt Labs. Thank you so much for joining us on 360 and for being a part of the Plutus Partner Program. If you want to know more about the Plutus Partner Program or what they're building, then make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening in the IOHK universe.
So Lars, it's been a little over a month now since we kicked off the Plutus Pioneers program. How's it all going?
It's actually going very well. So I think we accepted more than 1,600 students into the class, and there are weekly lectures. Actually, we are now in week 7. So I'm just very busy working on the 7th lecture that will be released tomorrow. We have a weekly Q&A sessions, so where the students can ask me questions. We do that on Zoom. And then we have our Discord server, which is very active, and there are lots of discussions going on, lots of questions asked. And that is very nice for me, actually, because I don't have to answer every single question, because the students are very supportive of each other. So a lot of the questions that are being asked are answered by the students themselves. So it's actually really going great. I'm very happy about how the course is going.
So it certainly seems like a lot of the pioneers are enjoying themselves and learning a lot along the way. What are some of your observations of the group of people you've got working on the program?
I'm very happy how enthusiastic everybody is. I mean, right in the beginning, in the first lecture, I warned everybody that it won't be easy because Plutus is still a bit rough around the edges and it's quite difficult, some of the things. And I was very impressed how they just got into it and with a lot of enthusiasm dove in and followed the lectures and try out things. So that's great. And we have seen some great contributions. So they write their own tutorials, they produce their own videos that some comment on my lectures. And we even saw some technical help for Plutus itself. So some issues were found, some bugs were found, and issues were raised. And in some cases, there were even pull requests. So the students not only found problems, they even provided the solution that the Plutus team could then just take and integrate into the code.
So yes, of course, Lars, this is not just about learning, it's also about the testing process and helping the rollout of Alonzo. Perhaps you can just tell us a bit more about how the pioneers are helping in that regard.
In the beginning of the course, the pioneers already found some issues with Plutus, so they are definitely helping us testing already. And now with the Alonzo testnet, that of course will continue, and we will pick some of the students that have contributed most, and we were very impressed about their contributions and their activity on the forum to help us in this very early stage of the testnet to test it and to also provide some tutorials and documentation for the time when then all the pioneers can join.
So I think we should probably hear a little bit maybe from some of our pioneers right now. So let's run that clip now.
So my background is in software. I'm a software developer. I'm a .NET developer at my day job, Pioneer at night. Most of what I do now is providing remote solutions for the at-home workforce. And what I hope to gain from the Pioneer program is some insights into Cardano's unique approach to blockchain technology, most specifically with smart contracts. My experience being a Plutus Pioneer has been really fun. So 2 days out of the week, we'll have our lectures and or Q&As. Those last about an hour to two. And then the 4 days out of the week, I'll divide my time across learning Haskell, which is like a really cool and fun programming language. And then we'll do some community help. I'll jump in, try to help another pioneer whenever I have the opportunity, or reach out for help whenever I have somebody to peer review my work, as well as doing the homeworks themselves. I needed help setting up my localized environment because I'd never used like Nix or Cabal before. So I knew I was missing a step in my setup, and I reached out and somebody helped me. And I was like, well, that was awesome to have somebody to reach out to me. And they told me they were also a pioneer. So I've made it my mission to try to help as many pioneers as I can as well. So I contribute to the community docs. I've made pull requests into the Plutus Playground, and I've helped over a dozen pioneers set up their local environments. I even challenged myself to grab like my Mac, my Linux machine, and my Windows machine and set them all up and install Docker so that any unique situation somebody runs into, I can at least lend a hand. There's a lot to be impressed by in the Plutus Pioneer program. It's everything from the code, the structure of the classes, the courses. I was most surprised and had the most delight in creating my first tokenized system. So making like NFTs or fungible tokens, and how easy that was. But moreover than that, the entire community has been so welcoming and talkative, and they communicate amongst each other. And that has been really exciting and has impressed me to no end. The biggest challenge for me was having to learn Haskell in tandem with the Plutus Pioneer program. I knew that it used Haskell ahead of time. I picked up as many resources as I can to consume as many resources as I can to learn Haskell. And it's absolutely incredible. It's a really fun programming language. And after just a few weeks of practicing both, I've gotten the hang of it just fine. Additionally, though, one of the challenges I saw with the community was actually setting up localized environments. And so I made it, again, my mission to reach out and make sure as many people as possible can have a smooth transition in. Even though I'm a pioneer, I like to contribute where I can. After I finish the Plutus Pioneer program, I plan to contribute to the community documentation, educating some of my peers that have like minds to my own or just starting off in this space. Jumping into other projects to see what other pioneers have come up with, and hopefully helping review some of their work. the lens in which I view blockchain, in particular Cardano, has evolved since the first day I began the Pioneer program. I thought it would be really cool just to learn how to make tokens or NFTs, or help some of my friends who are artists make NFTs, introducing them to blockchain technology. But I could check that box on week 4. Like, I already learned how to do all of that. So there's this 10-week program with 6 more weeks to go. My guess is I'll choose a more ambitious goal at the end, or just contribute to somebody else who has just a really cool idea. If you're thinking about joining the Plutus Pioneer program, you don't have to wait till the next signups. You can start today. There's tons of community boards. We have a Stack exchange. You can jump into the Slack channel. We have an incredibly active community you can reach out to. All of the original videos are even available on YouTube, so you can see what it was like the first time through the Pioneer program. You can even start picking up and learning Haskell. Some of the greater resources for that would be like Learn New Haskell for Greater Good. I put in a couple hours on Learn New Haskell every day during the program, and by the time I got to the types section, I had everything in my tool belt I needed to tackle the program.
Hello, my name is Matthias Putz. I'm from Germany. So my general background is that I'm mostly in IoT background programming, but I was addicted to Haskell and functional programming for a very long time already. And so when I looked into finding out about big projects which are written in Haskell, I stumbled very fast about Cardano, and then the step to Plutus was a very, very small one. So my experience in the Plutus Pioneer program so far was very amazing, because there are a lot of different peoples with different skills and different backgrounds, and all of them come together and want to learn Bluetooth. And that's very amazing, because they have a different way of thinking and they have a different background. And it helps a lot to work with them and think with them and brainstorm with them, because then you can challenge your own ideas and also correct your own understanding. And this is very, very helpful. So what have impressed me the most about Bluetooth so far is probably when Lars was explaining in lecture number 6 about the end-to-end application of an oracle done on the Cardano blockchain. This was very impressive, because it's already everything there. And he showed us how you can do a full smart contract on the Cardano blockchain. And the only missing thing is connect an UI, make it nice, and make it usable from customers, users. And that's it. And that is very, very impressive. So when I've finished the Bluetooth Pioneer program, what I want to do with my expertise is use it, apply it, because otherwise you will forget about it. And hopefully there will be some connections with other pioneers or with other people who are also connected to the Bluetooth Pioneer program. And maybe we can do something together and make a big win-win for all of us. Or maybe I start my own idea. I've already some, for sure, and maybe realize something of this. So my advice for any other Bluetooth pioneers who want to join the program would be that you should learn some Haskell in advance. It not only gives you some advance in your general day-to-day programming, because it's a nice language and it has nice concepts, but also for the Pioneers program, because then you can focus more on blockchain programming, which is very important and challenging in itself. And it also gives you maybe some spare time to do your own experiments during the program, which helps you a lot, because to change your own ideas and to maybe break stuff within Bluetooth is very helpful in improving your understanding of all of this.
So thanks to everybody who contributed to that. Good to hear some news from the front. So Lars, just to wrap things up, of course, not everybody was able to join the Pioneer program in this first cohort, but I understand we will be running some future courses. Perhaps you can give us a bit of an update there.
Yes, and some people were quite disappointed that they weren't picked for the first group of the program. And we didn't, of course, do that to be mean or anything. It was just that we felt, given their previous programming experience, or I mean, according to what they told us about themselves, that it would be better for them to maybe spend some more time learning a bit of Haskell first, things like that. But we did open up the lectures to everybody, so they are publicly available on YouTube. So a lot of people have actually watched the lectures without being part of the course. I believe some of the lectures have more than 10,000 views by now. But we will, of course, also repeat the course. So probably sometime later in the summer, we will start a second group, and eventually we will even turn it into a continuous thing so that people can basically start the course whenever they please. So we will have several iterations, one coming soon, where people that missed out the first time get the chance to do the course. And of course, we will update the content. I mean, Plutus is still evolving. Even now in the course, I think in the third lecture, so some of the code I presented in the first lecture was not working anymore and needed to be updated. So we will completely rework the lectures so that it's always up to date with the current state of Plutus.
Well, look, Lars, thank you very much. I'm sure everybody will join me, and thank you for all the hard work you're doing on this. Good luck with the testnet. Of course, good luck to all our pioneers as well. And if you want to become a pioneer in that next cohort, make sure you stay close to our social channels, because we'll be sure to let you know as soon as there's a fresh entry. So thank you, Lars, very much.
Thank you very much, Tim.
So that's the latest on Alonzo. And don't forget to tune into our mid-month updates, where we'll bring you the latest news on the journey to Alonzo. So what's next, Aparna?
All right. So, Tim, we've actually got something on Marlow coming up. And I just wanted to say, you know, with the Plutus pioneers and the Plutus partners and everything that we're doing around Alonzo, our project is heavily community-based. I think everybody kind of gets that sense for how much we involve our community. And one of the things around community is it's great to bring them into the process, but it's also great for us to build infrastructure that's consumer-facing for expanding upon that community. And that is what's so exciting about Marlow. It is a consumer-facing product, which means UX first, which means we're talking about how we're going to interact with a group of people that may not be developer savvy or may not be tech savvy, or for that matter, may not even be crypto savvy coming into the community. And so I really am looking forward to the launch of the prototype and what we're doing with Marlow. And with that, we have David giving us a quick explainer on what Marlow is. And then we bring Simon and Shruti on to talk about their prototype and the webinar series and everything that's going on in the Marlow world.
Let's talk about Marlow. It's something you might have heard about here and there, but I don't really think that people understand how important Marlow will be for the future of smart contracts and Cardano. In finance, there are common types of financial agreements that happen all the time, such as escrow, swaps, CFDs, and various types of bonds. And for the most part, these services are carried out by third parties that charge hefty fees, or in some cases, percentages of the funds involved to execute these services. But we're heading into the future, and we can leverage blockchain technology to do the heavy lifting. Blockchains are immutable, meaning once the info has been input, it can't be changed. This is the ideal condition for anything to do with financial contracts, because you certainly don't want people changing things that have already been agreed upon, especially if the other party doesn't know. And when it comes to security, Cardano is the most secure proof-of-stake blockchain in the world. But we can do even better than just the security that blockchain technology offers. And that's where Marlow comes into play. Marlow is a DSL, which stands for Domain Specific Language. And that means Marlow is a language created specifically to handle financial contracts like the ones I mentioned at the start of this video. This makes it a special purpose coding language, written in the language of finance rather than a general purpose language, which means it's easier to read, write, and understand. It's also safer. Some errors are impossible to write based on the way the language has been written, and we can completely analyze contract behavior without having to run a contract. Okay, so Marlow is a coding language native to Cardano, but it's also a suite of products. And some of those products are intended for developers and some for the everyday user. So let's take a look at both sides, starting with the products for the everyday user. Marlow's first iteration will be a browser-based application, which will give you access to the Marlow suite, which includes Marlow Library. And this is where you can find ready-to-use contract templates from an open source library. This will give anyone the ability to use all those financial agreements I mentioned previously and more by simply selecting one of the agreements from the library of verified smart contracts and then filling in your information. And for the developers, Marlow was built with accessibility in mind. You can use either JavaScript or Haskell to build Marlow contracts, or you can write in the native language of Marlow itself. And if you're new to coding, you can take it one step further and use an innovative open source tool known as Blockly, which allows you to build financial smart contracts by simply dragging and dropping different options into place. This sort of accessibility opens the door to a much wider audience of potential developers, and now people with extensive knowledge in finance but little in coding can bring their expertise to the blockchain and evolve the space that is DeFi. This is really quite a big deal when you take a moment to think about the billions of people that don't currently have access to these types of tools, and will be able to have access to them no matter where they live in the world as long as they have access to internet. Consider those people that have no identity and no access to banking. Marlow is able to give them access to credit and banking instruments with just internet access. Marlowe is one step closer to bringing peer-to-peer services to the world and eliminating unnecessary third parties. And this is in line with Cardano's mission for financial inclusion. Marlowe's aim is to democratize finance and make it accessible to everyone.
So welcoming Simon and Shruti from the Marlowe team back onto the show. It's been a couple of months now, maybe 2-3 months now, and there's been a lot of progress. So for the audience, Marlowe is our domain-specific language for financial contracts. And I just wanted to hear from you guys as to what's going on with the project, just a general update on Marlowe.
Sounds good. Yeah, like you mentioned, Aparna, Marlowe is a domain-specific language on top of which several products live. And one of the products that we're going to be looking into today is Marlowe Run. Marlowe Run essentially is a product that enables seamless, intuitive, as well as a more straightforward interaction with financial agreements so that users are able to run their own financial agreements in a peer-to-peer fashion on the blockchain. So what we are exploring here is a prototype of the Marlowe Run. So that's what we've been working on building. And that is something that we can look into today. We're really focusing this on user experience and user friendliness because we understand that not everybody knows how to build smart contracts and not everyone understands the logic behind constructing a contract, for example, even a legal contract. So we are really focusing this on user experience. And for that reason, what we've also been doing and working on is we've constructed a whole array of off-the-shelf financial contracts that we're also going to be providing with this prototype.
So this is really a consumer-grade smart contract application. So perhaps you can just tell us a little bit more about some of the work, the specific UX and UI work that's gone into that.
Thanks, Tim. So yeah, what we've been doing with Marlowe Run is build the product right from the base up. We looked at the user journey through creating, setting up, distributing, and running with a contract. And that's a contract that's distributed, just to make it clear. This will be a contract that Aparna, Tim, and Shruti could be running together. Aparna from her browser, Tim from his browser, Shruti from her browser. So setting up that process and then allowing people to run from their laptop or from a mobile, because we've done mobile first design here. That seems to be the right way to make sure you get the best design possible. So mobile first design of the user experience and the user journey through interacting with a contract. And I'll be showing you a demo in a few seconds time, but that will give you a clearer picture. But I think just saying we've done user-centered design, that's been the hallmark of what we've done. And this will be, it's a prototype at the moment, but what you will see in the demo will be exactly what you'll see when you run with a contract on the Cardano blockchain, when we release that later in the year.
Well, Simon, I think we need to see that. So let's run that clip now.
Marlowe Run runs in the browser, and what it does is provide the end user interaction with contracts running on the blockchain. For the moment, we're simulating that blockchain inside the browser, but eventually this will be the tool you'll use to run contracts for real on Cardano. Now, to interact with the contract, your wallet needs to be involved to control your signature and to control your assets. So we link up Marlowe Run with a wallet. Let's link it up with Shruti's wallet. So in this window, we see the world from Shruti's perspective. And let's open up another window and link in that window the world with Charles's perspective. And at the moment, neither of them has any contracts running. They have a blank space there. But let's start a contract up. Let's set up a zero coupon bond, which is a fancy name for a loan. And let's suppose that Shruti is making a loan to Charles. She's the investor. He's the issuer of the bond. And Charles wants to borrow 1 ADA from Shruti. And he's promised to pay back 1.1 ADA. So we've set it up, we've said who the issuer and investor are, we've said what the price and the eventual value will be, and we're now going to create the contract. In order to do that, we have to make a payment of 30 Lovelace to get the contract started. So let's pay, and we're asked to approve that, and the payment goes through. And you can see now in Shruti's Marlowe Run, we've got the zero coupon bond running. But also, if you look at Charles's view of the world, it's running there too for him. Let's see what it looks like for him. We're at the first step, and it's saying it's waiting for something from the investor, who is Shruti. So let's see what's happening in her view. Yes, she's asked to make a deposit, so let's click on that to make the deposit, and click to confirm with a fee of 10 Lovelace, and make that deposit. And then you can see her view has changed. Now she's waiting for the issuer to pay her back. And hey ho, we look in Charles's view, which is incidentally the mobile view of Marlow Run. He's asked to pay his 1.1 ADA. Let's make him do that now. And he'll also have to pay a 10 Lovelace transaction fee. And let's make that deposit. And you see now from both their perspectives, that loan is completed. So you can see the history of what's gone on. You can see at particular points the balances that the contract holds. And in fact, we can, if we close that, we can see the history of all the contracts that that Shruti has taken part in. So I think that pretty much covers the basics of what you get from Marlow Run. It's a intuitive interface to a contract running on the blockchain, and you see that each participant in the contract gets their view of the contract in real time, updated from what's, in this case, in the browser, but eventually what's on the blockchain.
Wow, that's pretty amazing work, Simon and Shruti. You know, one thing I love about Marlow and the portfolio of the Cardano ecosystem products is that it is consumer facing, like Tim said, and we do focus on that user experience first. So Shruti, talk to us about the process the team has kind of used in being able to bring the feedback in, iterate and put it out, and how this has kind of changed us from just big bang taking a product and putting it out there and looking at prototypes first type of a product development process.
Absolutely. I think that the development strategy as well as the design process, typically the engineering design process, is extremely important in terms of iterating as well as developing a product that actually suits users very well. You know, we adopt a humble approach in the sense that we understand that we don't have the all of the information that our users are looking for and the kind of usage patterns that they're most familiar with. So what we're looking to do is we're planning to run a Marlow Pioneer testing program where we want to give a sneak peek of this product to a few sets of users, and then they will be able to test out the product and give us their feedback. And so that we'll be able to incorporate that into our design process. And then in the future design sprints, we'll be able to design and really tailor the product according to our users' wants and needs.
And Simon, I also understand that this week we announced a new webinar series. Perhaps we can hear a little more about that.
That's right. What we're doing in the webinar is we want to start from basics, just talk about the basics of finance and how those move onto computer and onto blockchain. So we're beginning that with Willie Bramert, who's from the Actors Foundation, and then Shruti will bring things in a bit and explain how that migrates into what we've been thinking about with Marlow, and then I'll talk in more detail about how we designed Marlow, the things we wanted to design in from the start. Really what we want to do there is to ensure that we can give people as much assurance that their contracts behave as they should, behave well, built into the tool. So that's how we'll conclude. And we're going to be running further webinars later in the year to pick up some of those themes.
So lots of great opportunities to get to know Marlow a little bit better. And remember, there's lots of resources already out there, including Simon's lecture series that you might want to check out. And we'll drop the webinar link in the show notes below. Simon, Shruti, thank you very much. So if you're not subscribed already to this channel, please make sure you do. Click on the bell to get alerts whenever a new video goes live. And please give us a like just to get that algorithm working.
My name is Eric Zuleger, Senior Content Editor, and I am thrilled to be joined by Dor Garbash, the man who's leading the way with Project Catalyst to on-chain governance on Cardano. Welcome back to 360, Dor.
Hello. Good to be here.
So it has been a month since last we talked. What has been happening with Project Catalyst since last month?
This has been an amazing month for Catalyst. I want to share a few statistics about the growth we've experienced this month. Bottom line, our funded proposals bringing results. We have 314 developers, 132 entrepreneurs, 6 dApps in the air. All these people were attracted thanks to the effort of our funded proposals from Fund 2 and Fund 3, and they're just getting started. We had the largest assessment round to date, a new record. 160 individuals submitted 1,800 thoughtful assessments about proposals in Fund 5. Very impressive. We reached 25,000 participants in ID Scale. If we continue on this rate, we're going to get to 100,000 people by the end of the year. We added Euro mobile support, and hardware wallet integration is almost ready. For Fund 5, expect support for those of you using Ledger. And finally, we've been scaling up the system to handle tens of thousands of voters to deal with this growth that we're having.
That is incredible, Dorothy. So can you catch us up on some of the most exciting themes that you're seeing come up in each innovation round?
So some of the most exciting themes we're seeing right now is the rise of the challenges that were voted in by the community. So we have the Africa Growth Challenge and the DeFi Challenge, and both of them are on fire with lots of really great proposals set up for a vote. We have community advisors taking leadership. They're building tools and processes by themselves and really inspiring us. And also we're seeing the Catalyst coordinator, that's the accelerator for all the funded proposals in Catalyst, really taking off, where you have dozens of funded teams that are starting to meet and collaborate and form bridges. So I would say the biggest themes are growth and autonomy.
We've seen a lot of growth since the very beginning with Project Catalyst. What are some of the most important ways that it's advanced?
Catalyst have seen a lot of growth. The most important ways that it has advanced, first of all, inclusivity. Voting is almost free. You only need one transaction fee to register to vote. And if you have a balance of 500 ADA or more, you can participate. So almost everybody in the network can participate now in voting. And we're establishing ourselves as the largest decentralized innovation fund in the world, as continued to scale up. And we're seeing that it's not a fad. Every fund, more engagement, more people, more energy. This is real. This is sustainable. So for those at home watching and maybe curious, inspired to learn more about Catalyst, there's a very simple step for you to continue in this journey. Open your Telegram. There's a channel called Cardano Catalyst Announcements, and subscribe to it. It's very informative. It's going to give you all the right information about when voting starts, how to register to vote, when proposal submission begins, how to become advisor. Really, really interesting stuff. We want you to be looped in. We want you to take part. So join us. Looking forward to having you.
So lots of excitement for the ERC20 converter partner out there in the community. Perhaps you just say a little bit more about the significance of this project.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, from a commercial angle, this is one of the most important projects that we do have right now, because this becomes a really easy bridge to get onto Cardano. So Singularity, of course, is the angel customer here. We are working with them to ensure that this is a success, and doing that with Francisco and with Bart and with a few others from our team. But there are many more that are going to follow. So I do know that this is something that we're heavily looking into. It helps with the case of interoperability on Cardano, as well as with expanding the Cardano ecosystem from a utility perspective, and also from the number of organizations that can put their tokens onto the chain. So very exciting project with the ERC20 converter.
So yes, indeed, an important and exciting relationship with SingularityNet. And of course, we wanted to hear a little bit more. So we asked the guys to give us a little bit of an update.
So we have been working very hard with SingularityNet to migrate SingularityNet from Ethereum to Cardano. The first phase consists of migrating their token, and for that we have created a new token called AGIX. The second phase also is going to achieve the migration of the dApp from Ethereum to Cardano. So the marketplace for artificial intelligence, in which we can empower a lot of people and give access and democratize and decentralize the access to artificial intelligence, will be done with extra computational power of Cardano. This will also speed up the transactions, lower the transaction cost, and allow users to migrate and use their tokens in a native way using the advantage of the ledger of Cardano. So, Jan, why is SingularityNet so enthusiastic about having AGI on Cardano?
That's a very good question. We are enthusiastic. We are really enthusiastic, and for a number of reasons. Some of them, and a lot of them, are technical reasons. Obviously, the gas fees from Ethereum play a big role at this moment. It's the first thing what comes to mind, but not the most important one. Other things are speed. I think reliability is a main issue there. And last but not least, also your foundation in Plutus, which means a whole lot to us. It's a verifiable programming language that enables us to program our parts, our components, like the marketplace, but more importantly, the DSL. And I'll come back to that a little bit later, in a way that we can really rely on it being secure. And that's really important because we are counting in the future on having trillions and trillions of API calls. And it will not just be API calls from point to point, it will also be API calls from one AI server to another, to yet another, etc. It will be a complete dynamic environment of API calls. And of course, you have to be very, very, very sure that the communications between all these components are reliable and being done as you want it to be done. And that is where Plutus comes in, which is a natural companion for us to be programming our DSL in. And DSL stands for domain-specific language, and it's the language that we are constructing right now to enable different AIs to speak to each other. So this is at the core of SingularityNet and what we aim to be. And therefore, we are super thrilled to have Cardano as a partner and as a technology platform to enable us to fulfill these promises. And of course, this is the technical part. There's also another part which is about your community. You have a great community of people, and we like to be involved with them. We like them to give feedback, and we like to get working on joint projects where we can both leverage the Cardano blockchain and the SingularityNet AI to create wonderful functionality of the future. So in a nutshell, large nutshell, that is why we are so thrilled about our cooperation.
And what are the projects ready to be migrated from Ethereum to Cardano? What is the first point to start?
Well, the first thing, of course, we are talking today about the converter. So the way to convert AGI tokens on Ethereum to AGI tokens on Cardano, which hopefully in the future will live as AGIX, as just one ticker and one thing. But that's just the first step. Using the Plutus language, we will also be deploying all other components of our platform, including the marketplace, to Cardano. And like I mentioned, also the DSL is a very important and crucial thing, which will not be deployed in the coming months. That will take more time, but to have Plutus there is crucial for the development of it. So, having discussed this, Francisco, maybe you can explain a little bit more about the first step in this journey, which is actually enabling the conversion of AGI on Ethereum to AGI on Cardano and back. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, of course. So the first step is migrating the token from Ethereum to Cardano and also allowing the users to migrate back from Cardano to Ethereum. So we have designed and created this tool called the ERC20 converter, in which we allow the users to lock the tokens on Ethereum and mint the tokens on Cardano. So they have a one-to-one peg, and they can take the tokens from one blockchain to the other one. Also, they will be able to burn the tokens they have in Cardano and get the tokens back on Ethereum, so they can migrate in both ways.
Yes, and that back and forth burning and minting, so not only being able to go from Ethereum to Cardano, but also backwards should you want that. That is very important for us and for you also, I suppose, to enable full flexibility and dynamics for our audience. So that is the thing we need to accomplish before we can fully port to Cardano. So, Francisco, do you have any idea when this converter will be released?
Yes. First, we will start by releasing the Ethereum to Cardano bridge, only the way to migrate from Ethereum to Cardano, in June. And the other way of the bridge and other parts are also tied with Alonzo hard fork and Plutus. So we are working on that, and you have to stay tuned for other updates.
Will there be costs involved for the users to transact, to exchange their tokens from one blockchain to another?
The Singularity Net is going to cover all of the costs of the Cardano transaction cost, but the user will have to cover the cost for locking and withdrawing the tokens on Ethereum. So Singularity Net DAO will cover the Cardano cost, and the user will have to pay for the Ethereum gas fees.
I guess an important aspect of this bridge is that because apart from transaction costs, which are not unsubstantial on Ethereum right now, but that might change as well, hopefully. Making sure that there is this one-on-one port also makes sure that the prices of AGIX on both blockchains will stay at the same level, right?
Right. That will allow users to migrate back and forward, and also to keep the price of the token equal in both places. So, Jan, also, can you tell us how all of this relates to the hard fork of the AGI token, and what is this new token you have designed?
Yes, so how the converter relates to the hard fork works as follows. Our current contract on Ethereum has a limit of 1 billion tokens, which makes a lot of sense. But the moment we start exchanging with Cardano, and suppose there are AGIX on Cardano which need to be transferred to Ethereum, then at that moment, extra AGI on Ethereum needs to be minted, while Ethereum on Cardano needs to be burned. So actually there will be, even if it's temporary, and even if it's going back and forth, and even if the total supply on Ethereum will not increase, there has to be utility to mint extra tokens. And that simply wasn't possible in the old contract. So while the total cap of tokens remains the same, it's 1 billion on Ethereum and also 1 billion on Cardano, but only in 91 years in a decreasing schedule. So very, very slowly, step by step. We do need the functionality to mint additional tokens on Ethereum to enable this bridge, basically.
Thank you, Jan, for being with us. And well, it is very interesting. Let's see how the road works for us.
Yeah, so I think it's important to tell the users that they will be able to use this bridge, and it's not a one-time operation. They can use it as often as they want, and it will allow them flexibility to move backwards and forwards between change, making AGIX really a cross-chain token. And that's the whole idea.
Thank you very much. That's really exciting, Jan. And I hope we keep in touch.
Thank you, Francisco. I'm sure we will get in touch, and there will be many opportunities for us to collaborate, just as our communities will collaborate on these wonderful projects that are to come.
So some great updates there, of course. And Lando, I'm sure people want to see how the ERC20 converter is looking. And I understand we have a demo to share with people.
Absolutely, we have recorded a demo and let's take a look. Before we start, you have to download the testnet version of your Daedalus wallet and install the MetaMask extension in your browser. Also, you will need to get into SingularityNet Faucet and into Ether Faucet to get your tokens to do the migration. This tool will be first released in the testnet, in which we will try different features before releasing it into the mainnet later. You can go to the developers portal, in which you will find all of the links to the downloads and to the faucets, and also a full documentation on how to use this tool. So let's start. First of all, you have to configure your MetaMask wallet into the Goguen test network from this dropdown. And then you can connect your wallet. If you click in Connect, it will prompt you the confirmation to connect your MetaMask wallet. And then you have to connect also your Cardano wallet. You have to go to the testnet version of Daedalus and copy one of the addresses you can find into this section. After pasting and saving your wallet, you will see that everything is configured and we can now migrate our tokens from Ethereum to Cardano. Here I have 150 tokens I got from the faucet. I can click and select, and I can migrate, for example, 50 tokens. After clicking in Convert, I will get a prompt to confirm the migration using MetaMask. And I get this model in which I can see that the conversion is being processed. I can go to the transaction sections to see how the conversion is being processed. And if I wait for a few seconds, I will see that both transactions will be confirmed in Ethereum and on Cardano. So let's wait. Now that both transactions have been processed, I can see the transaction ID of the transactions on Ethereum and on Cardano. If I click in this link, I can see the transaction on Etherscan. And if I click in this second link, I can see the transaction on the Cardano Blockchain Explorer.
So Lando, exciting stuff there. Can you tell us a little bit more? When can we expect to see this land on the testnet?
You can expect to see this on the testnet in June, and stay tuned for more updates for the mainnet.
And more from SingularityNet soon. In fact, very soon. Stick around till the end of the show to find out more. Another partnership, Wolfram. Aparna, you met with the guys earlier today.
Yes, Tim. So Wolfram, we brought them on a few months ago, right? We were working with their blockchains labs portion on a couple of different projects commercially and within the project itself. But more recently, we're looking at them and partnering with them on some other concepts that we'll probably be talking about sometime in the future. However, I brought on Christian from Wolfram. He's an interesting guy. You know, he's a technologist, but he's also an artist, and he's got some really good understanding of the NFT space and how that can apply to something so sciencey, if that's a word, like a Wolfram universe or a computational automata. I mean, you guys have to go check out their website. I'm still learning a little bit on how to get used to some of the terminology that they've come up with. But once you check it out, it's actually really cool. And they were bridging that concept of art, science, and technology. So catching up with them was really good. And I think the community will enjoy that piece on what Christian has to say. Welcoming Wolfram as a partner showcase back onto 360. Wolfram has been working with us on a couple of different projects within the space, but this segment's really more to update the audience on what they've been up to and also introduce a new face, Christian. So Christian, thank you for joining us. And I have heard that you're not only a technical guy, but you're also an artist. So why don't you tell us a little more?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for inviting me. It's really interesting and pretty fun to work with you and your team. I really mean that. And so I'm a director of connectivity at Wolfram Blockchain Labs. I have a physics background, and well, I'm technically an artist because I have produced some professional artistic work. I don't see myself as an artist, but more as a computational explorer, which is not a term I invented. Stephen Wolfram wrote a book about adventures of a computational explorer, so I can relate to that concept. So by using computers, in particular, all the amazing Wolfram technology I have access to, what I like is to explore some art concepts like generative art. So one thing I like to do is like take data and reinterpret that data or reimagine that data as visuals or audio like I like using blockchain data, for instance, using our technology. So, for example, last year I worked with a group of very talented artists to create a 200 square meter for our American public. I don't know that number in feet, but according to Wolfram Alpha, that's around the size of a single tennis court. So yeah. Um, so yeah, we created an interactive art installation for the Contemporary Arts Museum in Lima, Peru, where I live, with sounds, visuals, and movable sculptures. Actually, this one is one of the sculptures. Yeah, I have the piece here at home. So there were 18 of these, and I use Wolfram language to create many parts of that. So yeah, that's a bit of my background related to art and technology.
Christian, that's fascinating. I mean, just looking at that sculpture is the first thing I saw. I was like, that's got to be one of those things because it looks very much like the models that you create when you showed me the Wolfram language simulator. So that's pretty amazing.
It's a group effort. I was not the only one doing this, but
that's awesome. So you know what? Another great area where kind of technology and art has been meeting recently is in the space of non-fungible tokens or NFTs, right? So what are your thoughts on this area and how is Wolfram going to be a part of this?
So I've been exploring the NFT space myself, like creating some original NFTs or minting some of my previous artworks, like stuff I post on Instagram, using Wolfram tech. And so what I find very, very interesting in this space is how this technology is opening a new, not only an economic model, but also a business and conceptual model to a new generation of people who can participate in different ways to shape this ecosystem by using stuff like governance tokens, for example. So while NFTs I think are big now in the art context, I believe we'll see more use cases in other areas. It's just that probably like virtual art was maybe more accessible to people, especially during the pandemic. So exploring this space is something we are doing with Wolfram technology. For example, with very small pieces of code, you can generate very cool stuff like cellular automata. And we also have the Wolfram Physics project, where collaborators there are producing what we call universes with small pieces of code, and you get this amazing, not only visual stuff, but very interesting conceptual stuff. So small is a very important word, I think, here, because storage of NFT data or metadata can be very expensive in blockchain. So storing small pieces of code that allows you to generate and interact with your NFTs is something possible with Wolfram languages, and we are exploring that. So, and Cardano is a pretty cool platform for this because you guys are working on supporting this natively, right? And having these sort of simple standards is something that we really need in the blockchain space to integrate the decentralized feature with other technologies. And yeah, and since we focus a lot at Wolfram on automating stuff, like by using our functions, and in particular the blockchain functions that connect our language to the Cardano blockchain, it will be very easy to automate all this process of creating and interacting with NFTs and and Cardano.
Yes, thank you for that. We do have a great layer one solution for NFTs, and our community has been so active in participating here. And then we would love to see your projects definitely as NFTs on our blockchain as well. And that's just fascinating stuff. So it's really not only art and technology. In this case, it's art/science and technology, which makes it really really cool, Christian. So it's a wonderful concept. So just, wrapping up this conversation a little bit, what's next in the schedule for Wolfram? Can you share a little bit more with our audience?
Well, we have a lot of things coming up. Actually, this week we have a distributed consensus conference that's on Wednesday. So just Google Wolfram distributed consensus and apply, or just join the conference. And yeah, now that you mentioned the Cardano communities, that's something very interesting because your community is huge compared to other blockchains, right? So we are exploring the idea of doing stuff like NFT auctions with Cardano, and and more. I think more use cases of NFTs we'll see in the future. yeah, and well, we have the Cardano integration coming soon. We have some prototypes I can use, but they're not public yet. But they are cool. So uh, yeah, we expect to see a lot of movement in this space from our side.
Yes, and for the audience, more to come on that. We on the Wolfram auction and what they're doing there. We'll keep the audience appraised on their very cool concept of the art science meets technology angle with their NFTs that they're looking to create on the chain, and we'll share some more in the next month. So thank you, Christian. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
So thank you, Christian, for that. Now, alongside the Alonzo testnet and the ERC20 converter testnet, there's another piece of strategic infrastructure we're building out over the summer, and that's our P2P testnets. So let's go over to Kevin to find out more. Kevin, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. So the P2P testnet, it's all about delivering what we call peer-to-peer networking capabilities. And what we mean by that is that the nodes, the block-producing nodes, will be able to automatically discover other block-producing nodes in the network. They'll be able to share information about the network topology. And they'll be able to do this on a dynamic basis. So what that means is that we'll be moving to a situation where we no longer control a central topology for the network, but rather the peers themselves will exchange information locally. They will build up their own model of the network, and they will adjust this so that over time they build the best possible set of connections for their own peers. So we're in a situation where we've deployed this internally. We've been working with a number of the Stakepool operators who have been connecting to our peer-to-peer nodes, and they have told us that we are delivering really good connectivity through the nodes that we set up. So why does this matter? Well, it matters because what we're aiming at is full decentralization of the network. At the moment, IOG is running a number of so-called relays, central relays, that are managing the backbone of the Cardano network. And the goal is, of course, that as we move to full decentralization, this load is taken up by the network as a whole, by Stakepool operators. And in this way, we will achieve the next stage of decentralization. So there won't be a single notion of a network. The network will be shared amongst all of the stake pools that are operating, stake pools, relays, wallet nodes that are operating. The network will be self-maintaining. There won't be a central point of attack or central point of failure. It will be fully distributed, fully decentralized. And that's what we're aiming at with the peer-to-peer networking.
So, Kevin, lots of hard work going on and positive progress, it sounds like. Maybe just tell us briefly about the stages that we'll be seeing over the summer.
So the first stage, Tim, as I was saying to you, is to roll out things on an internal testnet. We've been doing that over the last few weeks. Everything is working very well, and our nodes are actually connecting to mainnet. So even though we're running in a testnet setting, we're able to connect our own peer-to-peer nodes up with other people's nodes that are running on the network. That's the very first stage. What we're going to do next is to open up the testnet to a few Stakepool operators, let them run the peer-to-peer node with our own peer-to-peer nodes. The network will have to be running a peer-to-peer only version initially, so a pure peer-to-peer network initially. And then as we build up, we're able to expand that, bring in more Stakepool operators, move to a hybrid mode where we have peer-to-peer and non-peer-to-peer nodes working together using the governor mechanism that I've described to you, and that was put out in that rather nice YouTube video recently. Once we've done that, the next stage is going to be to move to a system which has gossip as well. So initially, the nodes will be able to connect to each other using some predefined topology file. But what we really want is that as a node connects to the network, it becomes self-discoverable, and it can also discover other peers in the network to connect to. In this way, the network will become self-perpetuating and self-governing in the long term. And some really cool features are being built in. But essentially, what happens is the node maintains a kind of map of the world, the map of the world that it's discovered. And within the map, it has a number of close neighbors, knows that it's friendly with, it's exchanging information with on an active basis. We call these the hot nodes. And that's a very restricted number. You don't want too many open connections at any point in time because it puts a load on the system. What you want is to have a few really, really good connections, a few really, really good neighbors and friends that you can exchange information with. And then beyond that, a broader circle, what we call a warm set of peers. They're not as closely connected as the hot set, but they're ones that you could choose to turn into better friends if you wanted to. And of course, when you do that, you can only have a certain number of friends in your connection set, so you're going to have to kick some out. So the nodes that have turned out not to be such good neighbors, such good friends, yes, you're going to kick some of those out and bring in some of the other ones who you think, yeah, they're going to be better. And thus, over time, you're going to build up a really, really good circle of friendly connections. And the final set is then just everyone else, all the other nodes that are in the network that you know about, but that you haven't established friendly relations with. So over time, what happens is the hot set becomes better and better connected. So you end up with a really good set of connections that adjust over time. So if the connectivity worsens, some of the peers are going to be thrown out of that set into the warm set. Some of the warm peers are going to be promoted up into the hot set. And likewise with the cold set, you might say, well, actually, these guys are in the cold set. Actually, maybe they could be potentially friendly. We might want to bring them into the warm set. And okay, some of these ones they've got in the warm set, maybe they're not as good as the ones we've just brought in. Push them out a bit. And in this way, the network will just continue, go on, and as I was saying, be self-perpetuating.
So hot, warm, cold, friends and neighbors. If you want to hear more about the wonderful world of Cardano nodes, Kevin will be joining the mid-month update. So make sure you click on the bell and subscribe to hear when that's going live. Kevin, thank you very much for the update. So on to research. We're going to talk about two projects today. We're going to start with Manuel Chakravarti and Sebastian Nagel with an update on Hydra, our scaling solution. And then we'll head over to Edinburgh to see Agalos and hear more about rewards and pledging. So Manuel, Sebastian, thanks for joining us on the show. Now, Manuel, you're a familiar face to many people within the community, but perhaps we can just start with a brief introduction.
Hello, I'm Manuel Chakravarti, and I'm a research and technical architect at IOHK. My background is in research of programming languages and compilers. And at IOHK, I've been working at the Bluetooth smart contract subsystem, and recently also on the Hydra architecture, which we are going to talk about today. Before that, I've contributed to the Haskell programming language, among other things, in particular on the type families extension of the language.
And Sebastian, welcome to Cardano360 and welcome to IOHK as well, I think, a new face to the company. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Nagel, and I'm a technical manager here at IOHK for the Hydra project. And I'm a software engineer by heart, originally from Austria, now living in Munich, Germany, and have been working in a quite different domain for the better part of the last 10 years. As a software engineer, I created robotic programming languages, app marketplaces, and IoT platforms for collaborative robots in the past. And it was that vision of democratizing robotics, which I also could see with IoG and also with Cardano, really democratizing finance here and banking the unbanked resonated a lot with me. And I now also made my hobby a job, and I'm happy to be here.
So Manuel, we're here to talk about Hydra. a name many will be familiar with, but perhaps you can just bring us up to speed on what Hydra is and what it's trying to achieve.
Hydra is Cardano's scaling solution. So what do I mean by that? As we know, generally speaking, public blockchains have a limited capacity to process transactions in the amount of transactions they can process per second, but also size-wise, because all these transactions are stored on the blockchain and have to be downloaded by other people joining the system. Now, a scaling solution allows us to scale up to more transactions per second, but also to be able to have more transactions in the system in the first place, because we avoid that all of these transactions have to be downloaded by every participant, but constrain it to a subset. Now, specifically, Hydra is a layer 2 solution. That means instead of having to modify the actual blockchain implementation itself, that's what we call layer 1, it's actually implemented using the Bluetooth smart contract subsystem of Cardano. And the advantage of that is that A, we are able to develop it more quickly in a more agile manner, and we don't have to change the most critical security sensitive parts of the blockchain, which is obviously something you want to avoid. Now, Hydra itself is not just one thing. It is actually a family of protocols. And the first protocol we've been working on is what we call the Hydra head protocol. It's a symmetric setup where multiple participants, all of which are online for the entire time of the head and exchange messages at potentially a very high rate, collaborate. Now, the second type of protocol, which we call the Hydra tail protocol, is an asymmetric setup. So we have a high performance server and many clients, which may just be on mobile devices and may be offline for a large part of the tail's existence. And then to put the icing on the cake, we are working on inter-head and tail networking, which will allow us to produce a network of heads and tails.
So, Sebastian, you've come in to help drive the implementation of all the research that Manuel has been working on. Perhaps you can just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we're here basically standing on the shoulders of giants by making this a reality, what Manuel just quickly explained. So the previous research here is ongoing still, and we are basically doing engineering on the bleeding edge here. So this is all about implementing what has been researched, but also providing variations and feedback to the research. So it's a very collaborative approach. By doing this, we also don't want to lose focus on our users really, and by also that journey, uncover a good product there somewhere.
So let's talk a little bit about our users. Why is this important to Cardano, and what kind of experience are we trying to achieve by deploying this?
We think Hydra is all about growth and adoption. And it is by increasing the speed of transactions and reducing fees, even to a very minimum of even 0 fees in some circumstances, we can improve scalability in various ways. And this is how Hydra will be an enabling factor to the Cardano ecosystem. We can enable applications which would otherwise be infeasible to do using Cardano, or just make all applications already on Cardano more powerful if they fit the layer 2 solutions quite well. Manuel has maybe some good examples on this.
So for the simplest example, think about Bitcoin Lightning. Lightning on Bitcoin allows cheap, fast, and many transactions which are payments. Now, these payments, they allow the Lightning system to scale beyond what the basic Bitcoin main chain would be able to do. And with Hydra, it's similar. We can do simple payments, but we can go further because Cardano, in contrast to Bitcoin, supports sophisticated smart contracts. Now, if you think about the Ethereum ecosystem, then if a new fancy, cool application comes around, like the next CryptoKitties, NFTs 2.0, something like that, then we always see the execution costs for transactions really going through the roof. You have to pay a lot, you have to wait a long time until your transactions are processed, and maybe you miss out on things. And Hydra is all about not falling into this trap. So that when all our great users come with their cool ideas about what to build on Cardano, Bluetooth, smart contracts, all the various functionality we provide them, that the system is able to keep pace and deliver everything without dropping in performance and these kind of bottlenecks which we've experienced on other platforms.
As you say, Manuel, scalability is a painful thing for many consumers out there at the moment. Tell us a little bit more about some of the research you're doing to really try and address that, which is a significant challenge for any blockchain.
Yeah, so far we have written a research paper on the first member of the protocol family, the head protocol. This is a research paper which we've published in Financial Cryptography 2021, a few months ago. And at the moment, we are working on writing up the second protocol, the tail protocol, and we hope to submit that to a conference soon. And in parallel to that, there's also work beginning on the interaction between heads and tails, so the inter-head and tail networking.
From an engineering side, we assembled now a team working full-time on Hydra. So for the last couple of months, we've been exploring the problem and design space, what's possible, what's feasible, by trying out integrations with the Cardano ledger, with the Cardano Bluetooth smart contract platform, and really figuring out how would we do it, how would we go about it. Along the way, we are trying to figure out the architecture of a Hydra node, which would be accompanying to a Cardano node. And on top of this, we are also heavily involved in working together with the researchers, for example, by even contributing on the simulations of the tail protocol Manuel just explained.
So this is an ongoing process, isn't it, Manuel, of fundamental research, implementation, more research, and so on. What's next in terms of the research roadmap?
So apart from finishing the tail protocol, one really exciting property that distinguishes Hydra from many similar approaches by other projects is what we call the isomorphic property. Now that's a big word, but actually its meaning is quite simple. What it means is we can take any smart contract which is written for the main chain and run it in a Hydra head. And that's really something special because we don't have to have special purpose contracts just for layer 2 heads or something like that. The code that executes in the head is the same smart contract code that executes on the main chain. So now think about this. If a Hydra head can run the same smart contracts as the main chain, and the Hydra head protocol is also on the blockchain side just a Bluetooth smart contract, then I can take this Hydra head contract and deploy it to a head. Then I get a Hydra head on top of a Hydra head. And from there on, the sky is the limit.
And from an engineering perspective, Sebastian, what can we expect to see next?
So we're still staying on the ground a bit on this. And so we only just got started. We have done many experiments so far, which we are now continuously streamlining into one consistent approach of a prototype to exactly the first of the many protocols to come. So the Hydra head protocol is our current goal. We intend to create a small but also tangible incarnation of that head protocol as a first prototype, and in order to get our hands on there really, and also in order to facilitate understanding of what's possible with Hydra and how could it be applied and how could products be built out of it. So we also just open sourced or made our repository public on GitHub. So please follow along and see how we develop this proof of concept. It's going to be an interesting journey and more updates to come, so stay tuned.
So still early days, but exciting stuff. And of course, if you want to check out that GitHub repo, we'll drop that link in the show notes below. Sebastian, Manuel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
It was a great pleasure.
Welcome from breezy and foggy Edinburgh. I'm Angelos Kagias, Chief Scientist at Input Output and Professor at the University of Edinburgh. Today I will give you a short whiteboard video about reward sharing and pledging in Cardano. In any resource-based consensus protocol, resource holders are responsible for carrying out the basic tasks of ledger maintenance. This is true both for proof of work and proof of stake ledgers. The main difference is the resource used, hashing power versus coins. Any resource holder can become a protocol operator by installing and running software compatible with the platform. Resource holders can also pool their resources together and form a pool. In such pools, resource holders can have different responsibilities, but typically one will be the pool operator and will be responsible for running a server, organizing the transactions that are to be placed in the ledger, while others will be more passive. In this way, pooling splits the population of resource holders to delegators and operators. The problem here is to have a situation where operators have too little skin in the game. This is important because subverting a resource-based consensus protocol requires controlling a large amount of the active resources, say 51%. So if just a handful of operators have very high leverage in the sense of having 51% of the resources delegated to them, then the system can become much easier to attack. For this reason, it is important for a resource-based consensus protocol to have a mechanism for controlling the leverage of operators and having an oversight of how pooling takes place. Uncontrollable pooling, incentivized by economies of scale, can lead to highly centralized configurations. This brings us to one of the very innovative features of the mechanism that we use in the Ouroboros protocol in Cardano. Prospective pool operators declare themselves as such on-chain, and stakeholders can delegate to them their stake. In this way, pool operators acquire an identity within the system, and participants can use the blockchain itself as a pooling coordination mechanism. Moreover, the blockchain guarantees everyone's rewards, as participating in a stake pool becomes a smart contract between the operator and the delegates, and also, very importantly, keeps track of the performance of pool operators. Now, given such pooling coordination take place on-chain, it is possible for stakeholders to have a better understanding of highly leveraged operators and avoid delegating to them. In fact, you can design the ledger rules to adapt based on the way pooling takes place and favor certain configurations exactly because all the pertinent information is on-chain. In this way, it is possible to introduce mechanisms on-chain to steer the system towards highly decentralized states. To achieve that, the mechanism that we have introduced has two additional important features that are built in. The first is that rewards of any pools are capped to a particular level controlled by the parameter k. Right now, the parameter k stands at 500. When the total stake of a pool reaches 1 over k of the circulating supply, the rewards stop increasing. The second is that available rewards are split in two big pieces controlled by the parameter alpha, which now stands at 0.3. Each pool can claim a slice from the left piece and a slice from the right piece. With the current parameter choice of 0.3, the rewards pie is split in the two pieces of approximately 77% on the left and 23% on the right. A pool can claim a slice from the left piece in proportion to its total stake up to the 1 over k threshold. It can also claim a slice from the right piece according to what we call a pledge benefit function. Now, the left slice is a reward to the pool for being popular with stakeholders during their on-chain pooling coordination. The more stake delegated to the pool, the larger the left slice will be in a direct linear relation up to the bound determined by the K parameter. The right slice is an extra additional reward to the pool for having an operator that is not too leveraged based on the evidence that exists on-chain. The pledge benefit function, which determines the size of this slice, increases with the size of the pledge of stake that an operator commits to their pool. The influence of pledging is similarly capped by 1/k. To appreciate the power of this mechanism, consider a stakeholder that does not wish to become an operator. Without an on-chain coordination mechanism for pooling, that stakeholder has only one option to participate as an operator. If that does not work for them, they will have to resort to off-chain pooling. Instead, using our on-chain pooling mechanism, the stakeholder has now two options to engage with the protocol: be an operator or a delegator. And having these two choices leads to higher participation and transparency, as well as ultimately better decentralization. How attractive is on-chain pooling is controlled by the alpha parameter. A low alpha grows the left piece of the rewards pie, making on-chain pooling more attractive. However, a low alpha can also create the incentive for operators to propose many identities in the system and in this way attempt to increase their leverage. They may even try to do this covertly in what amounts to a Sybil attack. For this reason, there is no right or wrong position for the alpha parameter. It is a trade-off between two desirable objectives: incentivizing on-chain pooling and de-incentivizing Sybil attacks. Combined with the action of the community, IOHK monitors the effects of these parameters as well as the other functions of the reward sharing scheme to ensure Cardano reaches and maintains a highly decentralized configuration. The current configuration is already highly decentralized, with thousands of operators sharing the responsibility for running the protocol. Nevertheless, IOHK may still make small adjustments to improve the experience of stakeholders with the mechanism. And when Cardano's on-chain governance system will take over, any future parameter adjustments will be completely to the hands of the community. So this brings us to the end of this whiteboard that described the main features of the reward sharing scheme used in Cardano. Hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.
So thank you, Agalos, for that. And we'll have a deeper dive into the work of the research team for you next month. So stay close to our social media channels to find out more when that's happening. We met SingularityNet earlier today, and I mentioned we'd have a bit of bonus content from them coming up. And we do indeed. Click that alarm, set those subscriptions, because tomorrow evening we'll be meeting Grace. In fact, Charles will be meeting Grace in conversation. So make sure you don't miss that. We have one final bit of news. Aparna, the summit. A lot of people are asking, are we going to have a Cardano summit?
Well, Tim, we are delighted to announce that we will have a Cardano summit in September of this year. It will be a hybrid event, kind of a mix of digital and physical venues and audience. And I know I'm really looking forward to the team celebrating these successes that we've been having and sharing that with our community, as ultimately you guys have literally made our lives easier and more focused with the participation and the interaction and the feedback that we constantly get as we move along our roadmap. So thank you for that. And we will look forward to seeing you at the summit.
So that is indeed something to look forward to. We'll bring you more news and more detail, of course, a little bit nearer the time. But Cardano Summit coming in September. Until then, we've got lots of work to do. We've got 90 days of hard work, of development, of community testing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for the mid-month update, and we'll see you for Cardano360 next month.
Well, hell yeah. Hold on, we gotta get Meet Kevin off of here. Fucking copyright my ass. So what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think? Another Cardano 360 has passed. Another monthly update. I thought it was pretty good. They took the time off a little bit, which was good because the other ones I think were getting too long. This one ran about 2 hours, really about an hour and 50 minutes. That's perfect. 2 hours, no more. When we start getting to the 3 hours, the 4 hours, even though I love this shit, I start getting like, I just cannot consume so much information all at once, so that was a good one. I'm excited for next month. Do you guys want to do these watch parties next month? Type watch party in chat if you want to keep doing these. Because they are getting smaller, but that's okay. I think it's just because all the Moon Boys are leaving, and I have fun doing them every time. So if you guys want to keep doing these every month, just let me know. We'll do them every month on Thursday, our normal watch parties. So I did take some notes, and then also if you are watching this right now, please click the like button. We'll also be doing a recap of this tomorrow. So some of the technical information that you guys heard in this, but maybe you didn't understand, or maybe you did, I'm going to be going over all of that information that you've missed in this whole live stream and summing it up into a 10 and 20 minute video tomorrow. So explaining the technical stuff, summing up some things you may have missed, or it's just going to be a good video. That's going to be released tomorrow, probably around 12 or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll be taking the weekend off with another Monday AMA at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Wednesday, I'll be releasing a podcast, the Cardano Aura, and then Friday I'll have another video up. But next week is the Cardano meetup. Are any of you guys going to be coming to the Bitcoin conference, the Miami conference? Anyone we're going to be chatting? It'd be pretty cool if I met any of you guys. Type it in chat if you're going to be there. I'll shake your hand. Be pretty cool. Scotch, you missed it. No worries on missing it, man. You'll have the recap tomorrow. It's no problem. Say goodbye to $0 pledge for Min Pledge SBOs. Yeah, but didn't have any. So if you guys were watching that, they were explaining pledge, and they're explaining, I think, how they're going to use identity management to stop, one operator from running a shit ton of pools with low pledge. Obviously, that's not going to affect Bloom. We have some of the highest pledge in the network because we've been here for so long and we want to protect the network from civil attacks. So expecting pay to summarize. So the main summary is going to be tomorrow. Let's see if we can, summarize anything cool. Okay, so June, the ERC20 testnet. That's the coolest fucking thing that of all of this is the ERC20 testnet is coming in June. So what that means is, I'm going to set up, I'll do it during a live AMA for you guys. I'll get on the testnet, I'll spin up a testnet node, and what we'll do is we'll take some testnet AGI and move them from Ethereum to Cardano. That's the biggest thing. Besides smart contracts and, the Merry hard fork, that is huge. Because maybe there are a couple, like USDC, for example. I hold a good bit of USDC for trading in case we see a big dip like we saw last week or the week before. I would love to hold my USDC in my Yoroi wallet, or all the other tokens, AGI, Harmony One. There's so many tokens that people love to hold. And when you want to hold them on Ethereum, you're paying anywhere from $50 to $500 for TX fees. If you want to move it in and out, you want to send some to a buddy, you're paying that much, where you can actually just hold them in Cardano in your wallet and pay, a 0.28 a fee, or when Babel fees come, pay a little bit of that token to send it somewhere else. I mean, that's huge. It's huge. I hate my camera. Let's see what the red still looks like. Is the red still, hold on. Whoa. I don't know what's wrong. I really don't know what's wrong. I'm going to have to fix it. It's sad. So the ERC20 converter was pretty awesome. It was interesting hearing, from all of the developers that have been working in Plutus Pioneers. It was nice hearing more about Hydra. Peer-to-peer's finally coming. I can't wait for peer-to-peer. And he also mentioned that there's going to be gossip. So to explain to you guys what peer-to-peer means and why they keep talking about it, it is actually very important. Because right now, the blockchain is just a network of nodes, you know, and the nodes are servers and they're all connecting to each other. They're all in a consensus, you know, on the blockchain. They're all in a consensus on all the transactions. Well, right now, you know, when I spin up a stake pool or a relay node, what I do is I actually pick the people that I want to connect to, people that I trust. They're called trusted peers. And I pick these people, so when I start my node, it connects to the people that I pick. Whereas this is why peer-to-peer is so important. Instead of having trusted peers, you probably still will have a couple trusted in the background to make sure you're bootstrapping to the right consensus. But what you actually do is you start your node, and then because it's peer-to-peer, it just connects. So you have this network of nodes, and it's a decentralized network of nodes where if anyone turns on their node, it just connects to it. And then the gossip, what they were talking about when the gossip, they're meaning essentially the nodes are going to gossip with each other. Like, hey, that dude that's running a 1% pool, he fucking sucks. Don't connect to him. That's what they meant by that. And that's pretty cool stuff. That's pretty cool stuff to me. Hydra, you know, that's how Cardano is going to get over 1 million transactions per second. That's probably not going to come till, you know, early next year, halfway through next year. Excited about that. And, you know, right now Cardano can handle, you know, the number of users that we have in the network, and we will be for a while. And I think by the time that Hydra's coming is by the time that we're going to need it. What else did I miss? The Plutus Pioneers program's going well. Everyone was very happy with Lars's teaching. It makes me want to go back and watch those videos. I need to. I've just been so damn busy. The color code, the Alonzo rollout plan was really cool. Project Catalyst, there's finally going to be voting with Ledger. Now, I hope they include Trezor, but Fund 5, there will finally be hardware wallet voting, thankfully. And then they demoed Marlowe. Marlowe looked really cool. Much better than the last time that I saw it. You know, it looked really good. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't see how many people are going to be using, you know, the peer-to-peer loans, but I mean, for example, I know somebody, you know, who asked, you know, hey, I have some ADA and I need some cash. You know, hey, if I use my ADA as collateral, would you be willing to loan me a little bit of USD? And it's like, I trust ADA. I'd be okay with that as collateral. And, you know, I could see, you know, in a couple small circumstances where you could use something like Marlowe. But, you know, knowing me, I'd probably just write it in Plutus. But it's cool. It's cool. And that's like, I want to see the type of person that would use Marlowe, because I guess it's not very technical at all. But I feel like if you're using like loans like that, I mean, you're a little technical, you know. Why would anyone want to keep using ETH after Cardano smart contracts and ERC20 converter? It's just going to be some people over there for a while, and then all these new companies, you know, that want to better, they want to have cheaper fees, they want to offer something new, they want to tackle, you know, a new market, because that's what ADA is. I mean, we are open right now. We have this open market. We don't have any DeFi protocols. We don't have anything. And if you come here, you have good marketing, you know what you're doing, you know the technicals, you see the values of Cardano, you see Haskell, you know, you see that it's formally verified, and you see with DeFi, the advantages that you actually have with DeFi, with Cardano, you can come in here and kick ass. Kick ass. I mean, just and make millions. You know, if you can do it right, you can do so well. So why would you stick with ETH, with the fees, with all the competition? It's just, we're going to see this big network effect. Do you see any discount pricing coming up? I think so. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, man. If so, what range would you consider a discount? I'd say anything under $1. Age is a stable coin now. Anything under $1 is a damn good price, you know? Hot, warm, and cold can integrate that into Facebook like social media. I mean, $1 is a good price too, $1.10. My dad actually bought the dip earlier this week. He threw $500 in at $1, I think 15, and it went right back up to $1.70. So he did damn good with that one. Marlowe did look crisp, that's for sure. Question: I have to send one ADA to send Cardano native tokens like Yay. Suppose ADA gets to $20 per token. That's like paying Ether gas fees too much. I thought Cardano fees were way cheaper. So great question, man. I appreciate you asking that. So Cardano's fees are actually a protocol parameter that we all vote on. And that's called like the MEN UTXO fee. It's specifically with native tokens. You know, when that was actually created, ADA was 30 cents. So now what we can all do is we can petition to vote to lower that fee, you know. And what are the cons of that? if you lower that min UTXO fee too much, then people will spam the network with too many shit coins. So there has to be like a fine balance between, the min UTXO fee and then the amount of shit coins flooding the network. What are your thoughts on Ergo? I love Ergo. I have some, man. They're doing some great stuff over there. No financial advice, but I mean, they're kind of at the cutting edge, of blockchain. And, they're using what Cardano does with extended UTXO. I keep hearing about this Ergo DEX. That's supposed to be incredible. Ergo is definitely, I take a percentage of my income and I put it in Ergo. There's a few altcoins that I pick and I put Ergo as one of them. Tony Plays Game says, what up, Big Pay? What's up, man? Also, thank you guys all for being here today. It was fun. I had a good one. More people are joining now that the other one's over too. It's funny. I hope the market dips again. The issue is, man, when I always see people say, I hope the market dips, it never does. It never does. So what is it? Are we in a bear market now? What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Let's take a second and look at this. I'm just curious. It's not that I really care. If we go into a bear market, wow, life's still good. But I want to look specifically at, the last bear market. What did that look like? Are we entered it? Or are we cool? I'm curious. What do you guys think? You think we're in a bear market now and we're just going to slowly start bleeding for a little bit? Or is this just a nice little few months, come down before we go back up? Because like macroeconomically, everything is just so complicated, with all of the things going on in the world right now, the regulation, the printing, it's all so complicated. I have no idea where any of this is going to go, It's just that they're printing so much money. It's like, what if it doesn't come down, It's obviously going to come down eventually, but then go back up because of the printing. It's crazy. Nilk said consolidation for the next few months. That's kind of what I'm thinking, man. Nice consolidation. And, consolidating at $1.70 is not too damn bad, I must say, man. Few month cooldown. Is that what you guys are thinking? Few month cooldown. Yeah, I'm not worried either, man. It's hard for me to worry, when I was at 3 cents for so long. So it's like we dipped to 6 cents. I'm like, oh, I doubled my money. Yeah. So it's hard for me to complain. When I see people complaining about like a dip to $1.40, it's like, dude, we were like 50 cents in January. Not a bear market, it's a manipulated market. Hey man, if you know how to follow the manipulators, you'd be doing good. So I'll ask you guys one question before we get off here. And also, if you guys haven't seen this, if you do want to support the channel, I think it's on this side right here. Next to subscribe, there's a join button. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to come on during the live AMAs and chat, because I want to set up like a Twitter Spaces or like a Clubhouse style where you guys can actually ask longer form questions. And I think that'll get me better as an interviewer. Also, it'll get me better at like answering harder questions and longer questions. It'll put me on the spot. And what I'm doing is like that little join button right there. The $15 one will allow you to come to the AMA and come up as a speaker, and you can ask me questions. We can have like a little discussion. And I'm going to start doing that probably for 15 or 20 minutes at the end of each AMA. I do those AMAs every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that's something that you would be interested in, coming up on the live stream and asking a few questions, it can be an anonymous account. No one has to know it's you or anything. But I feel that a lot better and more educational discussions will come out of that, because instead of like me skipping on to the next question, it's someone like piecing together, the trouble that they're having understanding that. They're piecing it together, and when they get stuck, but people that are watching the AMA aren't going to have to be on Twitter. They're just going to be watching it normal. But if you did join the $15 thing, and that's kind of to weed out the bad eggs, you can just watch it, and then join on Twitter. But you said you don't see it? I think it's, let's go try to find it. 'Cause I've had a couple people tell me that. They're like, yeah, I can't see it. I can't see it. So where it is right here. I'm pretty sure where it says see perks for me, I'm pretty sure it should say like join or something. If you can't see that, let me know. I've had a couple people say they're having trouble joining. And hopefully we can do it this Monday, because we need to have at least 3 people or 4 people that want to come up, you know. So hopefully we can do that this Monday. It'd be pretty fun. Cool. You guys see it. Awesome. I like the way you think. You're woke, just like Charles and Ben. What do you mean I'm woke? Yep, next to the subscribe button. Cool. How am I woke, Nilk? Is there anything else I missed? It was a fun live stream today, ladies and gentlemen. It always is. It's pretty cool that I get to wake up and do this shit. It's pretty awesome. Still hasn't really set in yet. I have to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, wow, this is what I do. You know, it's pretty fucking cool. It's going to take probably another 6 more months before it really sets in. Okay, you know where it's going to set in? At the summit. So yeah, I went over my notes. I think we went over everything, but yeah, where it's really going to set in is like, oh, this is what I do, is at the summit next week. And also at the summit in September, you know, when I get to meet some of you, it's really going to set in for me like, oh, this is a real thing. It's not just me speaking into a microphone and looking at a webcam, you know. But cool. I'll answer one more question and we'll hop off here. I had fun. I lost the chat though. The chat's gone. Gotta find it. There we go. Fabio said, I might ask a long form question. Yeah, man. So all you do is you join, and then I'm going to make a post the day before the AMA, and then you just have to comment in that post with your handle, and then I'll be able to add you in there. Snowman said, when Discord response, Pay, did you just go ahead and shoot me a message again? Go ahead and shoot me a message again, and I'll respond to you, brother. Loot pool sucks. Rewards are constantly shrinking. What, is that like a pool called Loot? What are you talking about? Skittles or Reese's Pieces? Neither, man. I don't want high fructose corn syrup in my soul. Neither. If I had to choose, probably Skittles. Probably Skittles. I like Reese's too, though. I don't really eat either of them anymore. Nope, no location. Isn't that funny that that's what they did? They're like, oh, it's announced. It's announced. Wait. Where? It's announced. It's announced. Where? Where's it going to be? Is it going to be in the United States? Africa? Where do I have to fly? It would be really cool if it was in Miami. I would love to just to drive there. But the summit's in September. They just announced it. We don't know where. Somewhere. Bone in, bro. Bone in for hot wings and for steaks. Nice shirt. Thank you. Billy said, Big Pay, where can I get some shrooms? So I think I know what you mean, but what you do to get some shrooms is you click join and then you click Bloomies and then you join. That's how you get your shrooms. What coin is for ADA and what are thinking about? What do you mean? What coin is for ADA? What you talking about, brother? Cardano land. That's where it is? I haven't really tried much pale ales, but I would say I'm probably an IPA guy. I don't really like drinking that much, to be quite honest. One more? One more good one? Bloom or Alonzo's? Bloom. Bloom. I don't even know if I have any Alonzo's. Sativa or indica, depends on the time of day, brother. Is it true Ethereum will migrate to Cardano? So Mark, let me help you out, man. So what they mean by an ERC20 converter is it's not Ethereum migrating to Cardano, right? So blockchains are protocols, and protocols are a set of rules, right? So Ethereum is just a set of rules that all the people that participate in Ethereum follow. And there's tokens on Ethereum. And Cardano is the same thing. It's a protocol with its own set of rules, its own set of tokens, its own blockchain, its own network, its own consensus. Well, Ethereum, you can't migrate the protocol over to Cardano. So what Cardano did is they allowed people to take their tokens that follow the Ethereum protocol and migrate them over to the Cardano protocol so it can follow the rules over here, right? And on top of that, they also built something called the Yella using the EVM. And what it does is it breaks down programming languages down to machine code so you can run different programming languages on top of Cardano for your smart contracts. And that's how it's like Cardano is essentially the next generation cryptocurrency. And that's why Ethereum is, last gen. And that's why Cardano is backwards compatible, because you can use both Solidity, the Ethereum programming language, on Cardano, and you can also bring over the tokens from Ethereum. So it's like all of the projects on Ethereum can move to Cardano. They can either rewrite the same smart contracts in Haskell, or they can use the same tooling and the same, programs that they wrote and just use them with Solidity with Yella. So that's kind of how it is, but it's not Ethereum's going to migrate, but the projects will. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day. It was a fun one. I'll see you tomorrow with the recap. Gotta wait for the shimmy.